Ladies and gentlemen, here we are. How are we doing? It's going to be kind of awkward tonight because this isn't just my audience that I'm talking to. I'm talking to everybody's audience. It sounds like Drew is trying to beat somebody to death over at his place there. I don't know what's
Sorry.
You're good. You're good. But here we are, ladies and gentlemen. For you people that don't know me, my name's Alex Rudd because I have taken over some people's YouTube channels here to do a live stream with these fine gentlemen. But I'm joined by no other than Mr. Gene Jensen, the Flukemaster. I got probably the worst kayak angler I know, Drew Gregory, and then Gandalf the Grey himself, Mr. Romel. He's also known as the Wizard. And so tonight we are going to do a live stream and just BS and have a good time and do all that kind of stuff, and it's going to be good. But what we're also doing, which I'll also remind you guys of throughout this, is we're going to be raising money for a foundation called PUNT. PUNT Foundation is a pediatric cancer foundation, and what's really cool about PUNT is that a lot of you guys probably don't know this unless you have had a child with cancer or you've battled cancer yourself, but hospitals cannot offer you anything other than treatment. So say like a hospital wanted to try to help you with a bill, say like, your light bill is due and you don't have the money because you're paying for all your chemo and all that kind of stuff. If a hospital does that, it is called bribery. And so they cannot do those kinds of things. So what PUNT does is they provide all of those things for people who need them. And so it's stuff like food vouchers, help them pay certain bills, help them replace air conditioners on their house, on their car, gas vouchers to get to and from, housing and lodging vouchers for kids and family who are battling cancer. And so that's what we're going to be raising money for tonight. Now, what's also really cool about that is my dad was actually a person who battled cancer, and unfortunately he lost his battle to cancer back in May. And PUNT Foundation was very near and dear to my dad's heart because he said while he was battling cancer, he could not imagine if he was a kid or had a kid who was battling cancer as well. And so we are going to be raising money not only on his behalf, but on the behalf of the fact that September is Pediatric Cancer Awareness Month as well. And so PUNT is a really awesome thing that I have a lot of heart for. I know these dudes have a lot of heart for it too, because they wouldn't be on here with me or agree to do the things that we're about to do tonight if they did not. And so the one thing that we are going to try to do tonight is fill up what is called Lee's Locker. So here at PUNT Foundation Knoxville, which is an extension of PUNT Foundation in Buffalo, we have this thing called Lee's Locker. And who Lee is Lee Smith. He's my cousin and also a former professional football player who helped the PUNT Foundation. And what Lee's Locker is a locker, quote unquote, so not a real locker. It's more like a metaphorical locker that we fill full of things like gas cards and food cards and grocery store gift cards and things like that. It takes $2,500 a quarter to fill that locker completely full and be able to help families in need who have kids who are battling pediatric cancer. $800 a month. So the goal tonight is let's fill it up for an entire quarter. I want to try to. We want to try to get 3 months of Lee's Locker filled up. I think that's a very easy and obtainable goal. So before we get to talking, let's talk about what we're going to be raffling away and how to win the stuff. So I myself am going to be giving away a 50 amp hour X2 battery. Romel has been nice enough to offer up an NK300 and a battery to go with it. Gene is going to be giving away some 13 fish and reels. And Drew, if we determined yet?
Yeah, I think so. I think I'm not trying to steal Gene here, but I was thinking about doing some reels too, because that's one of the best things an angler can ever have, right?
Yeah.
Couple good, reels. Oh man. So let's just do reels as well. Gene and I are both with 13, so
there you go.
We won't give away 13. We'll just do a couple of piece, but hey.
There you go.
Some good reels.
Or we can give away 13. No, but seriously. so we've got some reels to give away. We've got some lithium batteries to give away. And then the ultimate prize, the grand winner, is going to get an NK300, which is a freaking awesome prize. Thank you, Romel. So how you enter these giveaways, it's actually raffle style. So that's how we raise money, is I do it as a raffle. So what you do is there's a link down in the description of this live stream, and every one of these live streams descriptions, it doesn't matter which one you're on. We're also going to drop it in the comment section so you guys can go check it out. And if you wanted to search it up, it's alexredfishing.com. There's a donation form there. For every $1 that you donate, it's one entry into the raffle. We have my beautiful wife sitting on the back end of this thing watching all this stuff, and she's going to be monitoring everybody that comes in. And before the night is over, we will draw some winners and we will give away some awesome prizes. Now that we've got all that out of the way, gentlemen, how are we this evening?
I'm good.
We're good, man.
I'm eating dinner, so I finally slowed down today. So
I love it. I love it. Yeah, Gene looks awful with his Georgia shirt on, so that's just par for the course. That's makes me sick at my stomach just a little bit. Romel, we're gonna have to get you a wardrobe and a staff to carry around because you are the wizard. Drew, you're just running around like a chicken with your head cut off. You called me and like coming in on 2 wheels earlier and said, "Hey, listen, dude, let me get this coat from you so I can get logged in."
Yeah, it's been a wild week, man. And again, we're raising money here for a good cause for cancer. So my wife's had some, interesting health situations here lately as well. She had cancer in her thyroid. It was taken out. We actually didn't know it was cancerous, and they took out half her thyroid. They found that it was, even though it had a 2% chance of being, which was good because it was caught so early they didn't even know it existed. Mm-hmm. But then she found out she may have like some sort of tumor on her pituitary gland possibly. So now she's got an MRI for that. It's 6 months later. So, dude, this is like the serious side of like some people look at us here. We're quasi celebrities, of course, in the space, not counting Gene, of course, but but they don't. People also forget. We come on all the time, talk about fishing, make people laugh, have fun, but they also forget we're real people, and we have, and I like the way you're bringing it back a little bit with these sort of shows. We have other things going on as well, just like everyone watching here does. So it's kind of cool to remind people of that. And if you guys out there could say some prayers for my wife and I and what we're going through.
Did she lose her whole thyroid or just part of it?
Part of it, half of it.
Okay.
Yeah. So she's been trying to stabilize her whole body since then.
Yep.
And then, of course, this is a completely separate thing that just found out now that could be throwing a wrench in the whole thing. So keep us in your prayers. But like you said, Alex, chicken with my head cut off, but it's not going to stop me from, being positive and trusting that God's in control and being on here to raise money for other people who are in, much far worse situations. Like your dad said, a child to be dealing with something is it just breaks my heart. So I wasn't going to miss this for the world.
I appreciate it, buddy. I appreciate it. No, we'll be praying for you for real, man. Dude, I get it. It's it's funny. Like I didn't want to go down this road, but we'll go down this road for just a minute because it's just the truth. Like for anybody listening to this out there and listening on podcast form or in the live stream with me, like it sucks that my dad's gone, and it sucks when people have cancer, and there's nothing that anybody can say to make it any better. Like, and that's the thing is like so many people try, and I do appreciate it so much. It's like, hey, it'll get better as time goes on. Da 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 da. Maybe it will. Probably it won't. I heard Billy Bob Thornton of all people talking about it one time. He said his brother died, and he said, ever since my brother died, I've had a melancholy in me that people just don't understand unless you felt that kind of loss. And at any one point in my day, I'm 50% happy and I'm 50% sad.
Yep.
And honestly, I go through that every single day. But like Drew said, you got to get up and you got to go. And like, that's what I want so many people to hear like right now. And like, if you're out there struggling in any way, it doesn't matter what it is. If it's simple as finances or is it's complicated as your health, if it's as simple as, hey, I don't like my job, or it's as complicated as I'm having marital issues, whatever it is, just understand like it's okay to feel that. Like it's okay to feel feelings. Cause like us as men, everybody like just gets on our ass about like not feeling like you're supposed to be a guy. You're not supposed to feel anything. Like it's okay to feel feelings, and it's okay to like just for it to not be okay sometimes. And like today was not an okay day for me, but I'm here with you boys. We're doing this. We have fun. And now I'm off this topic and we're going to keep going.
Well, I want to say one thing for you, Alex, and somebody who went through it in 2017, 2018. And that picture right there. That's the last day I ever fished with my father. And that's him standing in the creek trout fishing. And it was something told me as we were fishing, and this was 7 years before he died. And even before he was diagnosed with Parkinson's, something told me, turn around and take pictures of your dad.
Yep.
And so I grabbed my camera out of my pocket, turned around and took pictures of my dad. And the best thing that I can say to anybody is if you have a loved one that you haven't talked to in a while, that you have had issues with, that you aren't particularly happy with right now, you need to go have a talk with them. Because the best thing I did with my father is I sat down, and I wasn't angry with my dad. He's always been my hero. But the best thing I did was before he lost his ability to speak was to sit down and have a talk with him.
Yep.
And talk about everything. And it's what keeps me going every day. It really does.
Yep.
Yep.
I 100% agree, man. That's what me and my dad, 7 days before he passed away, we took him to the beach. That's what he wanted to do. Go see the beach all the time.
That's
and so
awesome.
we loaded up in the car, and me and him had 8 hours to hang out and just talk and just be father and son. And it's still one of the best 8 hours I ever spent in the car with somebody. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Good stuff, boys. I appreciate you guys. I really do. This is gonna be fun. We're gonna now. We were talking a bunch of crap before we got in here, and I'm gonna keep on talking crap because this is good conversation, is what this is. And what we were talking about in the green room was the fact that a lot of kayak companies just do 70 to 80% right, and then just it falls apart after that. And I don't really know why. And what we were talking about is the Jackson NAR. So I've got a NAR. Eric Jackson, if for some reason you're watching this, let's have a conversation because I got some fixes for this thing. We can call it the Jackson Rudster if you want to. I think that would be good.
Well, he doesn't even work there anymore, does he?
He doesn't work there anymore.
Oh, hell, I don't think
so.
Maybe that's what fell apart.
Since I left, he and I left at the same time, pretty much in 2020.
Oh, well, then there you go. Well,
but anyway, so whoever else is
over there making decisions, give me a call. All right. It's crazy. So what we were talking about, on the NAR, what drives me nuts about it is two things. Is they put a battery, I don't know, what would you, it's not even battery storage. It's just like an open air battery slot in front of the drive. And then there's just a useless bar behind my seat that cuts the tank well into practically nothing. And so why boys do we think that? I mean, Drew, you've designed kayaks. Gene, you've been part of kayak design. Romel, I don't know if you've ever designed a kayak, but you design a bunch of stuff for kayaks. What's the thought process into this stuff?
Hey, well, I won't be here to. I'm not gonna defend the manufacturers and the process per se, but I kind of am gonna explain how difficult it is to make these kayaks. I mean, I'm talking, I don't want to get into the weeds. I'm talking, you're trying to cram so much, especially in a boat like that. I've never really even honestly taken a look at that boat, so I don't know exactly what you're talking about. But I know it's a boat that's got a lot going on. It's made for power. It's got a pedal drive. There's a lot of assembly. There's a lot of moving parts. Sometimes you might have a bar could be put somewhere because maybe once they got it out of the mold originally, once they got the mold done and they got it back and they tested it, they needed extra structural support. So your butt doesn't just fall through the whole thing. It doesn't, or it doesn't have to weigh 200 pounds of plastic to make it structurally sound. They might have to put a bar there for that reason. There's so many reasons and things that you can't even predict until you get the mold. The problem is once you get the mold, it's done. You've already spent your 75 grand or whatever it is for the mold, and you can't go back. It's that's just it's what Eric Jackson, speaking of Eric Jackson, when I worked with Jackson, one of the best things he ever said was every production boat that you guys out there buy, consumers, is a prototype for the next time we remake that model, because we're going to learn the things that we need to fix. Now, obviously you can prototype boats, and you do, but sometimes you do prototypes on boats, and during that prototype phase, you should get it in the hands of X number of people and pro staff and figure out what issues need to get changed. The problem is even that can take a long time. And then once it happens, there's something to be said about getting a boat to market in the proper timing and season for your dealers to buy it so the consumers can buy it. And all of a sudden it's not a new boat showing up in, too late in the year, like in June that's honestly when the Shoaly came out, which we missed. It's tough.
I don't know this. What is peak season for kayaks? Is it summer months?
No, sales, it's always in February, March, and April, because sales from to the dealer. Sales to the consumers start buying it in March, April, May, and June, and July. The further north you go, the later they might get into one. People down south are going to start buying in February, because it's about to get warm, So what that means, the dealers need to purchase it and have it already, know what they have to buy in the fall, right now. I mean, August, September, they need to know the catalog. What do we need to buy now? So we can allocate it. So it's this whole, you just keep working backwards. And then the issue is, your development takes a year or more. So you're already working on something you started in designing with a year and a half ago or a year ago. And then all of a sudden when it comes out, some new thing or some different, all of a sudden life scope's a big thing now. It's shoot, if I would have thought about this, I could have changed and made something.
We started the River 129 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so how many boats has Bonafide come out in the last 2 years too? And it hadn't been that one until November. So
it's challenging, but you're right, Alex. I mean, it's, they could, we can just, if we just take the best parts, that's kind of what different kayaks are. We talked about this in the green room. The best parts of each kayak is kind of like a lure, right? You take the best thing about this one, the best thing about that one, and then you still hear the whole, fishing world say, "Oh, that's a copy of that. It's a copy of that." It's like you try to make it different, and there's somebody going to be upset about everything. But
I mean, here's the deal: it's like I can't say much because I've never tried to design a kayak. I can bitch about it a whole lot. Don't mean I don't know anything about it. Like I'm no structural engineer. That's for
bitching
sure.
for cancer, ladies and gentlemen.
That's what we will do.
And the general rule of designing a kayak in a hole is there's always give and take.
100%.
You're going to lose stability if you want speed. You're going to, I mean, there's so much give and take, and it's just that fine balance of hull design and everything else.
Yeah.
And that's mold stuff. That's stuff that can be tweaked a little bit, but not a whole lot, and then.
Well, and it's wild to me, like the kayak, like, and not to say like I love the kayak. Actually, this is actually the first kayak in a while that like I'm probably going to keep because I'm like Mr. Turnover kayaks. Like I love to fish in everything. Like I get things, try it for 6 months, and then get rid of it and go get something.
Your ears must have been burning yesterday when I was fishing with Caleb. Then
probably, yeah, yeah. You already got me thinking. I don't know what was said, but yeah, probably. But yeah, I turn things over real quick. But like, I have to say the kayak it's quick. It's real flat. That's what I like about it. It fishes really flat. Like, and if I'm going to be in a big kayak like that, that's, made for like tournament fishing and like big water tournament fishing, I like that real flat kind of fishing. Everything's kind of right there. Romel, you said it the best. We were on the phone talking about the motor that I just put on the kayak. You said you're real simple. And that's the truth. Like, I love that simple. Clean, nothing in front of me. I really like that. So yeah, it's a cool kayak. Now the real question is when are we going to start 3D printing kayaks?
I mean, for prototyping, that's sounds great. I don't know how expensive that would be, that much plastic, or I don't know, but it'd probably be worth it.
How much?
At some point.
How much you 3D printing, Romel? Like in your business of like,
tons.
Yeah.
So much. I'm on the 3D printer all the time. I mean,
really,
that technology that comes into play is like it opens up so much time for like R&D because you can prototype stuff so quickly now.
Yeah.
And like, you have an idea and used to be you'd have to send your CAD out, have somebody manufacture it, do a mold, and then come back with your prototype part. Now it's like literally I could draw up something on CAD, hit print, and then my 3D printer spits it out in about 8 hours. I'm like, okay, here we go. Here's my part, so
crazy.
It fast tracks the R&D process quite a bit.
That's crazy. So you can go straight from CAD to 3D printer. That is awesome. That is so cool. Yeah.
100%.
I'm fascinated by the 3D printing thing. I was watching some videos the other day. They were 3D printing a house. It was like cement.
That's the thing.
Yeah,
that's the thing.
3D printing the house. And what got me thinking about it is we just got the driveway redone and like watching them do that concrete out there. And I was thinking like one of these days they're just going to bring a machine out here and like there's going to be no labor involved other than just setting up the machine, and this machine's going to 3D print like patios and in porches and driveways and things like. And then I just kind of went down the rabbit hole, and I didn't know this, but dude, they're starting to do stuff with 3D printing with metal. Like they're 3D printing metal,
all kinds. Yeah, metal.
They're 3D printing houses.
It's crazy.
And a full size boat. I saw a full size bay boat the other day printed.
That's awesome. 3D printed. It's pretty crazy. It's crazy, amazing what you can do for sure. But I had a question though. So the NAR, I thought it was supposed to be their big boat, right? But then they released the big rig.
Okay, I don't know enough about it to be.
I just put up a comment there about that big rig. Speaking of which,
they put a nose of tri-track with a new old big rig.
Did I miss something? Did they?
Yeah.
They released a new big rig?
Yeah. Like
another
drive.
Pedal drive. They released a pedal drive big rig.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Interesting. I don't know. I'll have to go look at it. I mean,
I know when the NAR first came out, it had some issues that they fixed. They added some
water
to it.
Yeah.
So added some what to it?
They added more shot.
Oh, yeah.
They didn't have enough shot in it for the first part.
So define that for people who don't know what that means.
That's just the plastic resin that they use to make the boats.
Gotcha.
how many pounds and whatnot. So it's a fine line because you want your boat to be able to be held up for, not have a bunch of warranty issues. You need to be thick enough and not, thin enough where it's just flexing, when someone sits in the seat or whatever. So it's got to be thick enough, but you also don't want it too heavy because then all of a sudden everyone's going to complain, all the consumers, about, oh, look how heavy that boat is. Can't even, that's a boat, not a kayak, which is essentially what we're in a lot of the boats these days. But you get the idea. It's a fine line for the manufacturers, man. It's tough.
Yeah.
It's tough. It really is.
It's hard.
I resemble that remark.
Yeah.
It definitely is hard. I mean, I think the biggest negative that I heard about the NAR and the Jackson was a steering system, rudder steering system.
It's terrible.
And they didn't fix it.
Yeah.
They use the same.
Yeah. It's like steering. It's like seriously like steering a freaking like an aircraft carrier. I have to get my paddle out to make sharp turns. Just plain and simple. I mean, that's it. And what's crazy is if you want to turn right, you need to use the right rudder handle, and if you want to turn left, you need to use the left rudder handle.
Yeah, so you're using both hands.
Yeah, and man, listen, I loved my Hobie. It was a great kayak, and I miss the mobility of the Hobie. The only thing I don't miss about the Hobie was the fact that I warranted the hull twice and warranted the drive once. That's the only thing. It's if I'm paying $5,000 for a kayak, crap's got to work. You know what I mean? And it's, I don't know. It's very interesting. Yeah. I think I always go back to how much I love the Shoaly, and I've been in an RVR and I love the RVR. It's simplicity. That's you almost can't jack that up. It's almost impossible to, because there's no overdoneness to it. It's the perfect just amount of, hey, here's all the stuff that you need to go have fun fishing. And then plus you can throw a motor on it if you want to, because it's got that ability. You know what I mean?
There's no moving parts. Yeah, no moving parts until you add the motor. But these days, as Romel knows, between you guys, Torquedo, I mean, they're pretty darn impressive, even what the motors can do, even with moving parts. But
and that's the thing is what I was going to say is even if you do add a motor, I was a little nervous going into putting an NK180 on my kayak, and I did it by myself in an hour and a half with simple tools. And I was like, oh, this is really simple. Then I wired it up, which was also super simple. And it's I love simplicity. I hate crap that is overdone. And I think too many of these kayak companies just are let's stick all of these things on here, regardless if we need them or not, and just see what happens. And it's I wish some of them would just kind of pull back to put big hatches so we can store things, put a big splash well so I can put anything I need to back there, be able to mount a motor on it and make a drive that doesn't squeak or break. It's really that simple. I think that's what all kayak anglers want. You know what I mean? But maybe I'm wrong. I don't know.
Well, it's the tricky part, dude, is you got people like you saying that, and you'll have somebody on the other side somewhere else, and another part of the country that fishes a different way. That's the thing you got to think about too for these boats. It's very tricky. You'll have back, when I work with Jackson, I got traveled all over the country. You'll have somebody in the Northwest that wants this, somebody in the Northeast wants this, someone in the South wants this, and it's so different. And you got to make a mold that fits kind of everybody, because if you make a mold that's just for a certain part of the country, it probably doesn't sell enough to then justify the cost of the mold. Then it's oh man, that's why most boats out there are 12 foot, 12 and a half, 13 foot, because that's the medium, middle size of the bell curve that most people want a boat that's about that size, because it all goes back to the shot too. That's going to mean a certain amount of weight it's going to be that keeps it kayak, and it's just tricky, man. So with what I do with Crescent, the specialized stuff, a little bit risky, and honestly couldn't be doing it if we weren't such a kind of small company. If we had some giant machine to feed, right, some of these other bigger companies, we probably would have to keep putting out boats that were no, we just need the one that's going to fit the most number of sales possible. Forget this little niche stuff over here, Drew Gregory. You like to do all this stuff. Forget that. But I mean, it's not that small of a niche. Let's face it, river fishing is pretty darn popular. But I want to go nichier. I want to always go nichier and make these cool little boats that going to do just this or that. But it won't sell enough to justify it. So.
But we know we can never satisfy everybody.
Yeah.
You just got to make the best one. And with the new PWR that we're coming out with. My whole thought behind it 2 years ago was we're moving towards motors. Let's make a boat that's simple to rig, yet still simple to paddle, easy to paddle. It's going to be a really nice paddling boat.
Yeah.
And then the idea of pedal drive came across, and I'm no, let's not put everything on the boat, because we'll never please everybody.
Yeah.
Let's make it either paddle and make it to where these guys who want to buy one and eventually spend the extra cash for a motor can put a motor on it. But while they're waiting to save that money, they have a boat that they can paddle and it will go great.
Yeah.
You know,
like I said, I mean, we talked about this last time. It's like motors have made paddle kayaks viable. I was out testing.
Yep.
I was out testing the other day. I posted on my Instagram. I was out on my new canoe Pursuit that I've had for a year. I barely got on the water. And I had a blast on that thing. Just completely stripped down, had a battery on it with an NK300 hitting 7.3 miles an hour.
That's moving. Yeah. Hey, I want to give an update for everybody. We have raised $890, so we have just covered an entire month for the locker. So
holy crap, that's awesome!
That's awesome, guys.
Awesome. In 25 minutes, we've done that. So, just a quick reminder: if you're just pulled in here, there's 132 people in here. So there's actually a bunch more people in here than when I started. We are raising money for the Pump Foundation. The Pump Foundation is a pediatric cancer collaborative that helps to cover the costs that aren't medical for families with children battling cancer, stuff like gas cards, food vouchers, housing, lodging, all those kinds of things. And so what we're raising money specifically for tonight is called the Lee's Locker, which is a metaphorical locker, quote unquote. And what we do is we fill it full of gas cards and grocery cards and things like that to help support families who are battling cancer. And what you need to do to enter the raffle is go down below, hit the link. It goes to alexredfishing.com. I specifically actually set that up just to do these kinds of things, to donate money. So you go down there, you just fill it out. It's a donation form. And for every $1 you donate, you'll be entered to win some awesome prizes. And the prizes are Drew and Gene are both giving away some awesome 13 fishing reels. I'm going to be giving away a 50 amp hour X2 power battery. And then the Wizard himself was nice enough to give us an NK300 with a battery to go with it. So that will be the grand prize. And so go down below, keep on donating. Oh, and also I forgot all about this. Shane donated a rod. So Shane couldn't be here. We had this like giant, we had another like a seven paneler plan. And Bailey is in somewhere in the middle of God's country, New York, trying to fish a kayak tournament. So he couldn't be here. Shane, I'm pretty sure, has COVID, whatever, we're in COVID 23. Like he called me, he was like, listen, I got the strep throat deeds, I can't be on and then Brandon, he had volleyball game or something, so I don't know, but Shane also donated a cash and rod, so we've actually got 5 prizes. So
how's a volleyball game with Brandon even fair?
I don't know. Is he?
How is that even fair?
He's 7 feet tall.
He doesn't even have to jump. That's insane. He's so.
But anyway, go down below. Go donate. For every $1 you donate, it's one entry into the raffle, and we'll pick some winners here in just a little while. But we've already hit $890. That's one whole month that the locker's full. Let's try to do another month in the next 25 minutes because I really believe we can do it. And here's the deal. Here's what I'm going to do to go ahead and jumpstart the next month is I'm donating $250 right now. So I'll go ahead and jumpstart the next month. So go ahead and fill out the rest of that for me, ladies and gentlemen. Anyway, I interrupted you, Gene, I think, or maybe Romel. I'm not sure. What were we talking about?
I can't remember.
I put this up, Alex, and sorry, you can take it down and put the other information back up. But I just put that up because that brings up a good topic is one kayak can never do it all. But I tell you right now, 2 of them pretty much can. And this guy's got it. Nicholas has a good point. After having the NAR for a full season, I find myself missing having a smaller boat for river fishing and just getting back to simple. Man, I couldn't agree more. I have a Shoaly that's set up to run, electric, motor and all that. And then it's more like complicated, right? It's heavier and whatnot. But then I've got my simple lightweight one that I have totally stripped down, and it's my river and creek boat. And if you have 2, I don't know what those 2 boats can't do, So I think it's a good way to go.
That's it. I mean, I got the NAR. In the NAR, honestly, I got the Shoaly. The Shoaly I will literally never get rid of because it's everything that I want in what that does, which is creek fishing, river fishing, floats and stuff. And then I've got the NAR, which I eventually will probably get rid of and just keep filtering through boats until I either settle on something I really like or just keep filtering through them because that's what I do. Like Romel brought up, there's a new big rig. See, that piques my interest. I just want to go try it. Like I want to try a bunch of different things until I maybe settle on something or maybe never settle on something. And I think that for me is the coolest part about kayak fishing is that we can do that.
Well, You know, Alex, you can borrow them instead of getting sponsored by the companies, and you can. You know,
I'm not sponsored by anybody. I'm
I'm
not
just
sponsored by
kidding.
Jack. I bought them.
Instead of changing underwear or changing boats like we change underwear, you can borrow a boat from some of us.
I like selling them. I like haggling with people.
That's right.
Something in me. I'm a haggler from way back. Like, can you do 35.50? I can do 35.51. Shit. Well,
I love jumping in other people's boats and trying them, man. It is so much fun.
You know, the tricky thing about those power boats and the ones that have drives and the more complicated stuff, those will always be the ones that you'll keep jumping to the next one because they're being, evolved around and developed around new technology.
Yes.
Graphs get bigger or power supplies or situations where we start putting motors on them. We never even thought about that. Now we got to start building with that. It's always going to keep changing, but the actual river fishing simplistic boats, it's more about that hull on the underside. And that's if it's, you know what I mean? And then just not doing too much and keeping it lightweight and simple like we did with the Shoalie. But the original Coosa, I mean, people still tell me, I don't think they make it anymore, but people are like, dude, I love that boat. It's still my favorite boat to this day. And it's just, you'll always keep chasing those kind of power, more complicated drives.
I got in the Coosa and made 2 paddle strokes away from the ramp, turned around and got out of the daggum thing. I'm like, I can't, because it was a river boat. I wasn't used to it, dude. I felt like I was about to put my ear in the water on every stroke.
Yep. Yeah.
One of my favorite.
But I'm a big dude too, so.
One of my favorite boats ever, and still one of my favorites, is the Attack 120. Russ Snyder.
That was a good one.
Was it?
Yep.
But it's funny because you look at that boat, that kayak, we call them boats. Look at that kayak, and there are things on that kayak.
A speeder is a boat. What we're talking about are overglorified hunks of plastic. I'm just
That's true. But you know what? You look at that how that kayak is designed. There's things in that kayak that are relative in play now. Like you can put 2 transducers in that thing in the center.
Mm-hmm.
There's 2 ports, so live scope and your traditional or your downscan transducer. And I just absolutely love that boat. It was one of my favorites.
Hans Newt's
the Wilderness Commander 120 was it's like a hybrid canoe / whatever.
People love that boat.
Amazing. We'll love it.
Tim Perkins and Lance Cooley, they still love that boat, and they
100%.
I know people who bought all the last ones. Yeah,
Hoover still has his sitting on his trailer.
Yeah, no,
I saw it the
that's
other day.
awesome about. It's amazing. It's like I because I get to fish, I get to go and hang out with people that are, obviously fish and on their kayaks a lot more than me, like Greg Blanchard, and you notice how people and their skill sets, and it kind of correlates into how they fish. Like Greg is really good at boat control with his pedal drive system and his steering. He knows it so well that he can maneuver, and it's like automatic to him. And it's amazing to see like how efficient he can be, because people always ask me like, how come Greg doesn't want to go bow mount? I'm like, because it doesn't work for him.
Right.
He's so good. He's so skilled at controlling his boat. And he knows it so well that he can make his boat do what he wants it to do without a bow mount. And it amazes me every time because people we go back and forth. They're like bow mount versus rear mount motor, which one's better, and it's really situational.
Both.
What it boils down to, right?
Yep.
And so I tell people like when I fish on the Delta, they're like, well, don't you want a bow mount? I'm like, no, I'm old school. Like I got an anchor trolley and an anchor. And they're like, what does the anchor trolley do? I'm like, it amazes me like how many people don't know how to use an anchor trolley. Like, Drew, you know how to,
yeah, I know how to use them. I've never really used one per se, because a trolley, anchor trolley for the river, it never really ends in the complete stern, the very, very back, like where you want to be. Because if you get hung up or you get, with the drag chain or something, I don't really ever anchor. I use a drag chain, so it's less likely to get hung up.
Yeah.
But if you think about it, anchor trolleys off the side, and people that try to do it, if you get hung, it starts pushing that side of your boat, and you start and it's just going to turn you and flip you. So. But I know, obviously that, again, we're talking about they're situational. Boats are depending on what part of the country you live in. If people are fishing lakes, rivers, inshore, offshore, because dude, there are places you can go where if you're not using anchor trolley, you're like looked at like, are you crazy? That's the best way to position your boat to catch this style of fish. And so
it's
tricky.
I don't want to freak out the guys who are maybe new to kayak fishing or looking for kayaks, saying, this isn't super difficult. It's just to find a kayak that's for you. It's about patience.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's about
It's about
spending time
getting
in it.
involved in the community, in a
Yeah.
kayak community, and kayakers. 99% of them will say, when you go up to them and say, "Hey, can I paddle your kayak just to test it out for a couple of minutes?" They will help you into it.
Yep.
You know, hand
Totally.
you a paddle.
Yeah, there was a bunch of people after I got my NAR were like, "Hey, can I check your NAR out?" I'm like,
Right.
"Put
Yeah.
the freaking thing in the water." I was like, "You can't hurt it, so just
Go for it.
Go for it. Like you can borrow it
Yeah.
for a day. I don't care. Like you're
Yep.
not
And
going to hurt it."
And then paddle shops have demo days, but you've got to get in them. You've got to get into as many as you can. You got to try them out,
Yep.
and you got to ask
100%.
questions. You know,
And
get
that's
into
why-
Facebook groups and
That's
ask
where
questions.
my obsession with getting different boats it comes from. It's just that. Like I love kayaks because they're affordable. Like you can switch boats out, you can sell them, you can do whatever and like go back and forth. Like and so it's like one of those things. Like with that for me, unlike a bass boat, like dude, you know how hard it is to sell a bass. Gene, you know how hard it is to sell a bass boat. I mean, it just took me 5 months to sell mine, which was quick comparatively, but still, it was a bunch of back and forth.
Well,
It's a big
I wasn't going to sell mine because it was so hard to sell them. The only reason I sold mine is because Caleb's got rear-ended, and I was like, dude, he's got a business and a family, and he's got he guides professionally.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm going to sell my boat to him. I don't care if he wants to pay $1 for it. Don't tell him that.
And here's the thing, and the thing is unlike kayaks where you can walk in and buy one $4,000, $5,000 at the most. Like you're talking top end, dude. For boats, like a good boat, a nice boat, top end boat, 90, 100,000. I mean, like I was up at the dealership where I got my boat rig the other day, and there was a dude walked in and bought $127,000 Skeeter. $127,000, boys.
That's what he's doing right now. The same thing we do. Fish.
Yeah. So
basically what you're saying, Alex, is what outfits are to some women, buying
Kayaks
them constantly. That's what kayaks are to you.
100%. Yeah.
Out, change. Oh,
yeah. All the time. All the time. I love it.
Sounds about right.
And I have to criticize everything as I'm doing it just because I don't know. I'm just the way I am. It's the only thing I think I complain about because like I'm one of those people like my food could come out like sucky and I'll never say anything about it. I'm just like, it's all right. Well, it's when it comes to like kayaks though, or any kind of fishing gear, like if it doesn't work for half a second, I'm like, it's just crap and I'm never touching it again. And I hate it. So yeah, I don't know. I'm weird like that though, but no, yeah, I love that about kayaks. But another question I have, and I'd love to hear your boys' opinion on it, is do you ever see us going any bigger? Like, so 14's like a Hobie, 13 and some change is a NAR. There's other, like, do you ever see us going 16? Like, than that?
Yes, but you got to understand, Drew hit the nail on the head a while ago. You're talking about weight. A 12-foot 5 to 13-foot boat has you around the 100-pound mark. Somewhere around the 100 to 110, 112 pound mark.
Yeah.
Anything bigger, you're looking at, you have to trailer.
Yeah.
You have to, you can't, it's hard to drag it through the woods. I'm think about dragging that Hobie.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. There's no dragging a Hobie. It's either or you trailer.
100%.
I've seen people card top PA-14s and I'm like, no way.
Yep.
Yeah, I did. I put mine on top of a truck rack, caught it in my chest twice, and the second time I'm like, nope, I'm done.
He said, nope, I'm done.
And
you do it for a very short time, and then you find another solution. But it is possible. It is
possible. I've seen PA-14s on top of Priuses, Honda Civics.
It was Bailey. He put his.
Will go bigger.
Nissan.
He did. His Nissan. Yeah. But I mean, we'll see bigger because trailering is the norm, and it is with motors and batteries. It's the norm, and it's a mini bass boat. And a lot of these, tournaments, they launch from those kind of boat ramps and regular places. So we're going to see bigger. Is what I'm saying. We will see bigger and bigger because, and here's why, because the sports will always, because we have a competitive side of this whole world, that always trickles down to the rec side. And when they put in their rules, these are length. Like if you look at the Hobie rules or Bassmaster, I think 17 foot is the maximum. Maybe 18. I can't remember if one of them is 18, but it might be with the motor or something. But 17. So when you do that, you're telling the manufacturers, stay within this range, and they're gonna go up to that range at some point. And
They're gonna push
it's gonna
it,
be
yeah.
a mini little. They're gonna keep pushing it because why
Well,
not put a
like-
display with multiple graphs and all this stuff? I mean, they just need more space and room and launching for boat ramps anyway. At least they are. I'm not, but they are.
Like, Drew, you were on the Blue Sky for a little bit, right?
Yeah,
And,
I was on that.
I mean,
Had to trailer it.
that was legal.
Well, actually, I trucked it, but yeah, it was legal, and it still is. And
That was legal.
little mini skiffs and stuff that are rotomolded, or they're
Yeah.
also marketed as paddle or push pole, man powered, and they are. You can do it for sure. So, but here's what's cool. It's kind of like this Kayak Adventure series that we started, right, Alex? It's like choose your adventure. So we want to give people the opportunity. It's like if that's what you love, because I think all of us will be on the same page here.
Listen, stop for a second. That was the smoothest plug that I have heard. That was so smooth. It makes me hurt like that in a good way. Okay. Like I love that. But anyway, go on, sir.
It's not that smooth. It'd only be smooth if we were raising money for pediatric cancer through the Kayak Adventure series. Oh, wait, we are as well, just like we are tonight.
Hey,
so maybe.
Hey, your next question, just ask me why I'm mad at Drew. Just go ahead and ask me that question.
All right.
Because I want to talk to you about it too. I'd love to be involved with it.
I was going to talk to you about that.
Whatever. I want to hear it.
No, I was going to bring that up on this live, saying that, Gene, I want you in. I know this would be really cool. We're going to be at Georgia for the first one at the Shoalipalooza.
Yeah.
By the way, don't let me forget why I brought this up. There's a real reason.
Oh, sorry.
It wasn't like, we just want to bring this up. But I want to say this, Gene. We're having this brunch on Fridays. We have a brunch. It's like a breakfast brunch thing.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure who all this are going to sponsor yet. It's going to be pretty cool, but we're going to have seminars. And, Jeff Little and, myself, Gene, I'd love to have you be a part of one of the seminars. And the anglers can come that morning and they can, eat food, recover from the night before, which is our opening ceremonies on Thursdays. You guys can look into more of that. The website will be up for this and you guys can learn more. But anyway, I'd love to have you be a part of it, Gene. And the reason I was bringing this up is because the Kayak Adventure series, the way we have our rules written, it lets you kind of do your thing. You do you. If it's your style to have electronics and motors and all that, cool. If it's your style to just have 2 or 3 rods and a $300 cheapo or $400 and put in at the very tough creek bridge, whatever, awesome. And then if you want a portage, that's fine. But I feel like they all have their pros. You know what I mean? Everyone has their own personality and style. And let's highlight our diversities. What makes us all different, unique. And I think if it's all set up properly, I think maybe I've even kind of proven this in some way. It's not because I didn't use a motor when I won AOIs and all these tournaments or electronics. If it's all kind of worked the right way in the rules and the format, it's all kind of a level playing field. You just get to choose what you like to do. And that's what's cool about it. Plus we're gonna have kayak demos at all these events as well. So talking about this kayak thing, having dealers there, and let's let people get in and test out all these, and the anglers will let each other try each other's boats and just kind of come together and just have a good fun time. It's all it's about, really. Alex, you'll even be there. The rumor has you'll even be on stage.
Yeah, I'm going to be there just letting all the hot air out of myself like I do very well because, I host a podcast as well that we're sitting on here. So, yeah, I'm really good at just letting hot air out of my mouth. All right.
It'll be fun.
Listen, Kayak Adventure Series, it is going to be fun. That still was the smoothest plug that I've ever heard in my whole entire life. That was beautiful.
So when's it all starting?
May 3rd and 4th is the first one, the Shoalipalooza in Georgia, Thomaston, Georgia. So we'll go there, and then
of course
we'll go
it's the Shoalipalooza.
Of course. Then we'll go up to Michigan, then over to Poplar Bluff, Missouri, Whitehall, Michigan, Poplar Bluff, Missouri, then Towanda, Pennsylvania for the Susquehanna, right on the New York, PA border, and then we'll go over to Wisconsin, Sauk Prairie.
My buddy Jacob said Alex will be demoing every kayak there.
Yeah, he will.
Alex, they're going to be like, "Where's Alex? We need him to MC this thing." He's over there still demoing freaking kayaks. He's touching everyone. No, yeah, dude, Kayak Adventure Series is going to be fun, man.
We'll do a separate podcast about Alex because I know you weren't able to join us because you weren't feeling good when we did the soft launch podcast.
Do all that, yeah.
We'll do one when the website goes live later this month, and then people will really be able to see all the rules and all the cool stuff that's going on, and just get so fired up on being at these little cool historic theaters for our awards at every one of these events, and
getting to see
the AC.
He said he was going to get naked at a couple of them. It's going to be great. Yeah, Bailey said he may come down and get naked in one. Gene will
I I will travel down for one. That's
Yeah,
just something.
Romel,
I would
absolutely.
All I had to bring up was naked men, and Romel's in. That's what I love. This is it. The wizard himself is in. Gandalf,
I'm in. Let's go.
I would love if Romel did seriously come to one and like brought some motors. Like, you know how Gandalf entered in Lord of the Rings on the little horse-drawn carriage?
Yeah.
On a horse-drawn carriage with the robe on, with NK 180s and 300s in the back,
just riding,
smoking a pop. me and Drew come out of the woods barefooted and just like, oh my God, it's Gandalf, and just running towards you. Yeah, we need to do that. We need to stage that.
I might look like an elf or whatever next to you, bud. I mean, for sure.
I love it.
or what, whatever they are. I don't know what's the name of the dwarf. It's not an elf. It's a dwarf, or is it a? No. It's a somebody in the comments.
Hobbit.
That's what it is. Hobbits. That's right. Yeah, absolutely. So that's gonna be fun. Romel, where do you live, by the way? Where's up?
I'm in Northern California.
Northern California. Okay.
Northern California. I'm like literally 10 minutes from the California Delta. So.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, I like that area. I fish the Delta. It's fun for sure. So.
Yeah, we need to get some more stuff out here for sure. We need some. Cool. We need some West Coast love. We need to work on some stuff. So
you're just so far out there, and
I know
the Rockies exist. Like people don't get like that is actually like a big deal. Like it's hard to like cross the Rocky Mountains. Like you just don't do it by car. Like people can't get that through their mind. Like it's actually hard to get through the Rocky Mountains.
Even straight. I promise it ain't a straight shot.
Like it's all up through there, climbing 16,000 feet. Then you drop down and lo and behold, we're in California. We're in the West Coast. You know what I mean?
So awesome.
That's crazy. Well, hey, listen, folks. We are at 1,500 and some change. So we're literally almost at 2 months of the locker being filled up. And so it was Bethany just texted me. And listen, I love you guys. You guys are amazing for doing this. We're at 1,565. So we just need a little bit more to get to 1,600. So let's keep on donating. When we
put Bethany on the podcast, we'll raise another 800.
Yeah, listen, she's over there topping away. I can promise you, she's got the camera off and the sound off. I can promise she's over there like, yes.
Yeah, she'd have heard that. Her eyes would have rolled in the back of her head.
Yeah, her fingers are going about 9,000 miles an hour trying to type all this stuff in. But now the next question I got for you boys is, and this has actually come through in the chat, and I never read the chat because I'm too ADHD to keep up with it. But you boys got to talk, and I was actually able to read the chat. Somebody want to know what's our big fish baits been this year? Like, what's the one bait? What's the one bait that stood out for you guys this year? That's like, hey, that actually is like, it helped me win a tournament, or it's helped me win multiple, or I've caught.
You better not say chatterbait.
Whatever it is.
No, I'm gonna avoid that one this time. I'll obviously a staple of mine for sure, but. Gosh, if I had to pick one, it might, dude. It's been more of a diversity of a year for me. Different baits than normal. I mean, I'll tell you what, man. Alex, you're obviously very familiar with the Chapo. Use it a lot. That one always catches a lot of big fish for me. The chatterbait does, but this year that little Midwest finesse swim jig, it got big bass for me at the Bassmaster Kayak Series in La Crosse. And again, this isn't like all year, but it was such a nice little subtle, smaller, and I learned something about those little finesse jigs, the swim jigs, right? Gene, I'm sure you especially know this, but I realized that the weed guards on these little smaller finesse swim jigs, they're not for wood. I mean, it's not a wood fishing jig, right, but it deflects all that little eelgrass and all the grass that's in the fisheries in the Midwest, like, in La Crosse and places like that, just perfectly. Because when you look at that jig, you're like, man, that weed guard's going to do nothing. But it's not it's to be popping and working quicker. But anyway, it caught me the big bass for the Bassmaster Kayak Series and up in La Crosse. And that was just a cool technique and something I don't do a ton of anymore, but it's a little bit more subtle than the chatterbait. And so that one was pretty cool. So.
And what was that? The Midwest finesse? Who makes
Midwest finesse swim jig? It's just a small little. It's not like a wood or rock jig that you swim or put on the bottom. Like let it sink to the bottom and work down along the bottom like a crawl. It's more of like your bait fish imitating swim jig that you're popping out of grass.
It's like a micro swim jig.
Gotcha.
Tom Mansour sort of.
Yeah.
Wisconsin.
Missile Baits makes a small one too, but it's a little bit bigger than that, but not much.
That's cool.
Yep.
Yeah,
cool.
That was a cool bait.
Well, hold on. Romel's gone to the dark side of the force. He's went from Gandalf to Gray over here. Now he's Lord Baltimore. Wait, there's the lot back. Gene, what about you?
Dude, I'm going to be honest with you. 99.9% of the big fish, I'm talking 20 plusers this year, have come off of a football jig.
Yeah.
I mean, I have
Old school.
worn out, and I've been throwing and I'm not sponsored by Picasso at all. I've been throwing the Picasso tungsten football head jig with the 3/0 light wire hook. So I don't have to jack them. All I have to do is start reeling, and it hooks them. But I'm telling you, and the thing is I'm not dragging it.
Really?
Probably 80% of those fish I caught slow rolling that jig on the bottom, just dropping the rod to the water line and just doing this.
Huh. That's interesting. What trailer?
Trailer.
Yeah.
Trailer. I'm using either a Zoom speed worm or speed crawl, or what was the other one I was using? A Rage Menace trailer. But literally keeping it on the bottom, but just slow rolling it. So every time it hits a rock, it pops up. Every time it hits something hard, it pops up just a little bit, not so much. And then they just every time it'll pop up, and if there's a fish following it, I can watch them on live scope. If they're following it and it pops up, you watch them, boom, and you just freaking wreck it. And 9 times out of 10, you just lose 6 foot of slack in the line, and you have to speed up and catch up to them and set the hook. But yeah, I just been slow rolling a jig.
That's awesome. That's actually
like that. It's old school. I like it.
Yeah, it's old school.
That's since February till now. And I'm still throwing them.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
What about you, Romel?
Oh, I haven't really fished too much, but then when I did get out there, the glide bait, man.
Really? Yeah. Which one?
It's fun.
I mean, honestly, there's so many of them out there now. But I will always go back to just the good old S-Waver.
Yep. You can't beat it, dude.
I've got a glide bait video launching Sunday that is legitimately. I didn't do it. I had to actually get an expert to film with me. It's 30 minutes long, but it's worth every minute.
I would say people, there's so many glide baits out there. The price ranges from crazy amount of money to and then you got the S-Waver, and it just works.
Yes.
You want to get into glide baiting and whatnot, go buy some S-Wavers.
Yep. And take a Dremel and just take a little bit off of that front hinge, and it'll make them swim like a $300 glide bait. Like they're
100%.
We talk about that in the video.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Seriously, glide bait fishing is fun. I've had a lot of success on it. I've had a lot of big followers. And what's funny is I've always had way more success with smaller glide baits. So many people want to go straight to the extreme. Like I've got a Depths 250. The biggest fish I ever caught on a Depths 250 was like a 3.5 pounder. The biggest fish I ever caught on a glide bait was on like a 5.5 inch glide bait, and it was a 7.5 pounder. I mean, so it's weird, man. Like I think so many oftentimes we think big fish or big baits catch big fish, which is true. But I think like when you're talking about like a 7, 8, 9, 10 pounder, and Gene, you've seen this, and I fished with Caleb with the live bait. It's crazy. You get a 7-inch live gizzard shad, they won't touch it. You get a 4.5-inch live gizzard shad, and they literally try to take the rod out of your hand. Those fish have way more, or they can discern between certain size things way better than we think they can. And I think that has a lot to do with what they eat, which is very interesting to me.
Yeah. What do you guys think about color? Because people made a comment on this. I forget where it was. It might have been on one of your things. I commented on, Alex, and I said, I think color maybe matters to some degree, but I think action is like 10 times more important. Said, what do you think is going to happen, and what do you know happens if you throw a goldfish into any lake or pond? Like, are the bass not going to eat it because goldfish don't live here and it's orange? What's that? They will smoke it.
See,
I think action trumps it by a ton.
I think in order of importance for fish to eat things, and I base this a lot on like the biology that I've learned about fish from being around people a hell of a lot smarter than me. And then also we're $25 away from having the locker stocked for 2 months. So let's do that, people, because you have a chance. Literally, if you give $25, that's 25 chances to win an NK 300 or a 50 amp hour X2 lithium battery or a 13 fishing reel.
Tell them what an NK 300 is.
NK 300 is a motor for your kayak. and it's a very nice motor for your kayak, made by Newport Vessels. And Romel, is there anything else that people need to know about it other than Romel really doesn't fish? What he does is he just puts his motor in the water and goes backwards really fast and chops the fish up, and then gathers them all up. Because he's good. But no, Romel, tell everybody the NK300, and then we'll go back to my theory of what I think make fish eat.
Sure. So NK300 is it's a 3 horsepower kayak motor. It's a big motor. I was out on the other day on a new canoe pursuit, which is a fast boat. It's 13'6". I was top speed. I was like, I don't know, 7.2, 7.3 miles an hour. So that could kind of gives you a kind of a gauge of like how fast or how much power this motor has. But it's just, but what people don't really kind of know is it's really good at that mid range, like that 5 mile an hour range. The efficiency on it is so good. You can literally go for a long time. You're using like, depends on the kayak, but 40 to 50% throttle to get that 5 miles an hour, which pretty much is hull speed on most kayaks. Let's be honest. So anything from, there it is. So there's a Newport NK300, and we're going to throw in a Newport 36 volt 40 amp hour battery with that has the Bluetooth app. You download the app on your phone, gives you all your stats for your battery so you can check runtime. But it's been an amazing motor for us this year. It's definitely gonna push pretty much any kayak out there as fast as it could probably possibly go. So,
and my man Romel, the wizard himself, Gandalf the Great, was willing to give one of those to raffle away. And for $25, not only are we going to stock the locker to help kids and families fighting pediatric cancer, but you're also going to have 25 entries into win that motor or a 50 amp hour battery or a 13 fishing reel or a casting rod. So go do it, ladies and gentlemen. Go do it. It's worth it. It's definitely worth it. All right. So back to my theory of fish and why they eat things. So I think the first thing, which is the most important thing to a fish, and y'all may agree or disagree, is scent. Let me tell you why I think it's scent. Because I've had not one, not two, but 3 separate biologists tell me that they're doing a lot of studies on fish that show that fish can discern food and prey items by the smell that they put off into the water. And so I think that fish can use scent to determine whether they want to eat something or not. And I think they smell things oftentimes before they see them. Because, like, I know for me, I've been fishing, and this has happened several times this year. I actually caught a big largemouth in a tournament. I could smell the gizzard shad on the largemouth, and the largemouth was in there smoking those gizzard shad, which leads me to
smell the bacon before I eat it.
Exactly. Now, the next one, dude, if you think about like other fish, I mean, you think about salmon and you think about sharks and you think about a bunch of the saltwater species, like a salmon goes back to where it was born based off the where the moon is at in the sky and the smell of the creek. They said it's by scent that they find those things. I don't understand why a bass, a predatory fish, wouldn't be the same on determining whether it eats things or not. The second thing I think is the most important is profile. I think if it's the size of what it's supposed to, of what it's eating and what it's used to eating, I think it's going to eat it every single time. So like the smell and the lateral line, I think gets them going into the direction. Once they're there and they see it and it's the right profile, and then Drew, what you said, the right action, I think that's really what goes, okay, now I'm going to kill this thing. And then I think color probably is the least important, but I think it still can also be really important because if it looks like what they've been eating, then that's like the nail in the coffin. And especially when we're talking about tricking fish, because getting fish to react is completely different than tricking a fish. Reaction out of a fish, you literally hit a little switch in a fish's brain. They can't help but chase after something and try to kill it. Like it's literally involuntary. It's like,
this is 2 different bites we're talking about.
It is 2 different bites.
Totally different things. Like, so it's like if I were to like, if you're just playing with your buddy and you throw your hand at them real quick and they go like this, that is what a reaction bite to a fish is. Like when you crank a crankbait by their face and it deflects off a piece of wood, their body can't help but go and like try to go kill it. Whereas like when you're tricking them, I think that's where color can be like the nail in the coffin. Like it's like, not only does that smell right, look right, and move right, but it also looks like something that I've ate before and been rewarded with a meal. And their little instinctual brain just goes, okay, it's time to murder that thing. And they go murder it. So that's my theory on it. I mean, and I only say that too because, like, my anecdotal experience with fish, it's like that freaking orange money badger. I took so many people fishing and tried to put them on that bite. And Ben, my buddy Ben, can attest to this, and Larry Melton can attest to this. I would be like, you can't throw that red. You need to throw the orange. And they're like, well, I'm going to throw this red for a little while. And after I caught 6 fish to their 1, they go, hey, you got another one of them orange crankbaits in the bottom of the boat? And I'm like, yeah, it's down there. Go tie one on. There's something about certain colors that get fish to eat, but I don't think that that's always the case. I think that, like you said, Drew, I think it's if it looks right and it moves right and it's the right size, I think that's when they kill things.
Yeah. Most of my bites is all reactionary bite, the way I fish, you know what I mean? So like Gene said, it's just total different bites.
Yeah.
So in my case, like your order, it almost would be, I agree with you that the color is the last, because people asked a question about, I think it was what it was your Chapo. You had a picture of your frog pattern Chapo. First of all these things look about the same on the bottom of them. You know what I mean? It's funny. Like everyone's like, oh, that one looks like a frog. This one, they don't think, they just see the bottom of it anyway. The spooks, you know, all these topwater baits, they all look basically the same on the bottom. And it's more about that action anyway. But I don't know, man. Mine's like, I don't feel like with the way I fish, scent is like the last of it, because I've seen how fish eat and how they approach things. Even the fish in your aquarium, if you guys have any fish, doesn't matter what kind of fish, or if it's a pet bass, obviously, or bluegill, you'll see them eat whatever, and then they spit it out and reposition it. They spit things out. Or let's say like they eat something that's not real, like you throw a stick into the water and they smash it, they know they can spit it out. But what they do know also is if they don't get it first, the other fish are. And if it was real, they're missing out. So the reaction bite, that's what I try to get in, like you're saying, Alex, is get that instinctual, like just a quick reaction, like you're throwing a ball to somebody and they got to just, they say, think fast. They weren't even looking. You threw a ball and you said, think fast. And then they just caught it. That's the bite I chase. That's what I chase, because I think it's the easiest way to fool a big fish. So murky water, sometimes that helps getting your bait to go right across that stump, right by those rocks, covering a lot of water. And in my situation, scent's got just nothing to do with it, basically. I mean, but for tricking a fish, and I'll let someone else take this, high pressured lakes, you know, your electronics, they see a lot of baits, clear water, total different bite, you know, soft plastics on the bottom, nothing that I really throw. So somebody else can take that one.
I can't tell you how much I've learned since getting live scope about how fish react and how they don't react, you know. And I'm not saying that the knowledge of, you know, so I'll give you, for instance, I'm throwing a crankbait, and I love a shad colored crankbait. I love a chartreuse shad or a regular sexy shad or whatever. But what I've started doing is I'll throw it out there. And if I see a fish coming up off the bottom and following it, but not hitting it, there's one thing that I've done probably 10 times, and 9 of the times it's worked. Is I changed to an orange belly crankbait. Because they're coming off the bottom, they're looking at it from behind. It's going like this. The only thing they can really see is the belly anyway. And I found that if I just go from a white belly to an orange belly, this goes back to years ago when I was guiding in North Carolina. I figured that out on our fish, where, you know, it was a private lake and there were thousands and thousands of giant fish in the lake. But I still figured out that there was a difference between a white belly and an orange belly on the crankbait. And being able to watch fish and how they react on the live scope to things has made me change colors more. But I don't get into the details of, oh, it's got to be this exact color. You know, I've got green pumpkin, black and blue, some type of a red or a pink or something like that, and a brown. You know.
Yep.
And that's
I'm with you. Keep it simple. Yep. 4,
you
3,
know,
4
and
colors.
that's for eating. That's for jigs and worms and plastics and stuff like that. For like chatterbaits, it's white, golden shiner, just because of down in Florida, and then green pumpkin and black and blue. You know, and so you just keep it simple to where you have different contrasts of colors. And I found that changing contrasts, I'll do that before I worry about anything else.
I think sometimes contrast and just the water around them just helps fish to just single in where it's at.
Oh yeah, years ago I was fishing a tournament where it was a shaky head bite. It was no doubt it was a shaky head bite, because I'd caught this mess out of them the day before. But I was in the tournament the next day, and I was fishing and shaking and wasn't getting anything. And I looked in the water, and I was throwing a finesse worm, a green pumpkin finesse worm. I looked down at the water after about 2 hours of not catching fish, and I'm like, the water's the same color as the freaking worm.
Yeah.
I'm like, no wonder I'm not getting bit. They can't see it. So I changed from that to a June bug and started wearing them out, you know?
Yeah.
Just 'cause
Contrast.
they could see 'em. Yep.
Yeah, it's all about
I
the
think
contrast.
everything comes into play a little bit, but like I think I would lean to agree with Drew here. And live scope really I kind of learned that this year. I was out fishing with a buddy of mine, and we were fishing some stumps, and I couldn't get bit to save my life. Like, and so my buddy calls me over, hey, come pull up next to me. And so I pull up next to him and look at I didn't have live scope. I didn't have my Garmin with me. And so I say, hey, look at my live scope. I'm like, okay, cool. Looking at it, and goes, okay, see that stump right there, flip your jig in there. We're fishing jigs.
Yeah.
Flip my jig in there, and he goes, okay, so work your jig like how you're working it. And I'm doing a hop, burning it back in, like hop it a couple times, pretty, substantial. And you could see the fish nose up to it. When I would hop it would just turn away and go away. Didn't like it.
Yeah.
So my buddy was like, okay, it pans over, finds another stump. Okay, flip your jig in there. So I flip it in there, and he goes, now don't hop it, just twitch it like a drop shot. Just
get the skirt to move.
And sure enough,
crazy, ain't it? I mean, see, dude, and that's the thing. I've got freaking Mega Live on the boat now, and it was crazy the other day because like I would reel something by these fish and they wouldn't do anything, and like I finally just threw something in there and literally just let it dead sticked it and just let it fall. They swam right over to it, and I just let it sit there, and I mean it was just the most subtlest little, and they pick it up and start swimming off with it, and it's like I think maybe for that reason, I mean, is you really look like at a crawdad or something on the bottom, like some bottom dwelling little creature, right? Bluegills are different. They're all over the place. They're like, little crack
like a hellgrammite.
They're like a hellgrammite or some little
crawdad.
Dude, crawdads don't move fast. They don't move much. They just kind of carry around. And if they do get kind of scared, they'll do the thing. But I mean, they're pulsing like that's as far as they're moving. You know what I mean? Yep. And so, yeah, the live scope thing is fascinating. Now that I've got it on the boat, I am beyond fascinated.
So you can pattern.
If you're ever in that bite again, have a jig that has living rubber on it somewhere.
Yeah.
Because there is something about that when they're on that bite where all you got to do is twitch your jig. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. But that's the thing that's what got me. And I was like, live scope, I'll get, whatever. I'm not worried about it. And then when I went through that with him, I'm like, gosh, darn it, you can pattern the bite so fast.
Yep.
Yeah.
So much faster than you could without it.
Okay, so based on well, first of all, we're at $2,100. You guys are awesome. We are $400 away from an entire quarter of the locker being stocked. So there's no doubt in my mind that we can do it. Again, if you want to enter the raffle, it's really easy. Link down in the description, link in the comments. It's in every description, or just go to alexredfishing.com. There's a donation page. You fill out that donation page. For every $1 that you donate, you're entered to win one of the 5 prizes that we have. The prizes that I have are 13 fishing reels, a cash and rod, a 50 amp hour X2 battery that retails for over $1,000 after taxes. And then we have Romel is thrown in an NK 300, which is retailing for how much, Romel? How much?
$12.99.
$12.99, then plus the battery to go with it, which is another $1,000.
Let me add in one more. Hang on, I'm gonna add in one more.
Okay, Drew, grab it right now.
Oh, let's go, Drew.
The deal. Sweeten the deal. Let's get seriously. If we can get to $2,500, that's it. That's 3 months that the locker's totally stocked. And for you guys, just to go over this while Drew's out wandering around doing whatever he's doing.
You got Drew.
What do you got, Drew? What is this?
I saw a real tree on there somewhere.
Yeah, Real Tree. Here we go.
It's action
Real Tree's my headline sponsor, guys. I got this. These beer mugs here, Real Tree.
Let's go.
Do this. Yeah.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
Ain't nothing like some Real Tree beer mugs. Nothing says redneck like fishing and Real Tree beer mugs, ladies and gentlemen. I love it.
There we go. Let's
Man,
just give these away too. We're gonna get that last few $100 we need here.
Oh, yeah. Raise hell and
Our
praise
minimum.
hell, son. I tell you what. I mean, Drew's going to the Redneck Convention of America, and I'm going with him. But anyway, for you guys that don't know what we're raising money for, because there's a lot of people filtering in and out, and you may not have heard. This is Punt Foundation's Pediatric Cancer Foundation. What they do is they help families with the needs that hospitals can't help them with. So, like if a hospital gives somebody like a food card or a gas card or a voucher for a hotel, that's illegal. It's called bribery. And the hospitals can't do that. They can only treat people. And so what Punt Foundation does is it helps families with kids who are battling cancer to get those things, because there was a statistic. I can't remember the exact statistic, but what is crazy is that most people that when they find out their kid has cancer, one parent quits their job because they need to take care of that kid full time. And so if you're in a 2-income household and you drop down to 1 income, plus you're having to pay all the bills that are associated with cancer, maybe you have to drive, life gets very expensive very quickly. And so what, there you go.
Hey,
Scott's
Scott's
with
on
Reese.
here.
Scott used some real trees on here. That's funny.
There you go, Scott.
Go get some more
Man,
mugs.
the Redneck USA. Can we
Sorry,
get some
didn't mean to interrupt you there.
Redneck USA? Because I would totally drink out of those, because that's what I need. But anyway, so what Pump Foundation does is they just help alleviate those costs. That's what Pump Foundation's whole thing is. And we're doing this in honor of not only September being Pediatric Cancer Awareness Month, but also my dad, who lost his battle to cancer on May 18th. His thing was, when he died, he wanted no money for flowers or any of that kind of stuff. He wanted all that money donated to the Pump Foundation. And while he was still alive, my dad's the reason that Pump Foundation was extended into Knoxville. He had a heart for kids who are battling cancer because he was battling cancer and he wanted to help those kids out. And so that's who we're honoring with this donation. And as of right now, last check, we're at $21.40. And so if we get to $2,500 tonight, not only are we going to give away this stuff, it's going to be awesome, but we're going to be able to fill that locker for an entire quarter of the year. That's 3 solid months of helping people who need help when they're battling cancer. So amazing stuff. Now, what were we talking about? Romel? Let's get into the discussion.
Let's
I knew it was coming.
Yeah, we know it's coming.
Well, here's the deal. I'm having a biologist on to talk about the actual biological repercussions of LiveScope. I've not had any of the opinion stuff yet because I've not wanted to dive into it, but I think I've got 3 good dudes here that we can have a good, solid discussion of our opinions of the subject. And so I just want to hear what y'all think. I mean, who wants to go first? Let me just hear your kind of opinion of the LiveScope forward-facing technology, Panoptics, Megalight, all of them. Like, what are your opinions? Gene, I saw your hand go up first. I'll let you go first, sir.
I love it. I absolutely love using it. I've learned so much since I've gotten it. I mean, and I've gone from Garmin to now I've got Lowrance's. And I'm not going to compare them, but I'm just going to tell you straight up, I love it, but it will ruin you if you use it all the time. It will flat ruin you. You've got to put it down every once in a while and just go fishing, or you're going to forget a lot of things. And you'll also be able to take what you've learned from the LiveScope and put it to use without it. I'm an offshore wrangler. I absolutely love using it offshore. And but then again, I love the hunt. Yeah. And so I want to go back and forth between the two and I do it quite often. So that's the biggest thing is if you rely on it 100% of the time, it will ruin your fishing.
I like it. I like that. Drew, what do you think, buddy?
You know what? Here's what I think, Alex. I'm so glad you asked me here.
Oh, no.
so listen, man. Like,
I hate it. I hate
LiveScope. No. This is the thing. Here's the thing. Different strokes for different folks. That's cool. And I've never even used it. So how do I even? I probably would love it. It would probably just confirm or a lot of the stuff that a lot of the places that I know they already are because I'm catching them. I'm still not going to go fish differently. I'm not going to go offshore because I just still like fishing rivers and creeks, and it doesn't really apply as much there. Not as much. I could probably use it, but here's the deal: to use something like that is no different than how many rigs there are these days. There's Nico, there's Spybait, there's Topwater, there's Carolina Rig, there's Ned Rig. There's a million different things, and only those people who are guides, full-time guides or full-time professional fishermen literally are on the water that much can actually take the time and understand like the technology fully enough to utilize it where it's not a disadvantage to them. It's actually helping their fishing, not hurting their fishing. Even the pros will say the year I switched and had to make the adjustment to it, I lost a year of fishing to learn it. Well, that's a pro who's on the water that many days. So most of the people watching this, it's going to take them years to be on the water long enough to really dial it in and figured out when to use it, when not to use it. Like Gene's saying, it's just this. So I'm sticking away, and I'm so happy. More people, you guys keep getting it, keep doing your thing. It's just going to keep leaving the other stuff that I like to do open. That simple stuff, just get me, like crescent shoalie and a paddle and get out there. So anyway, I think it's great though for the industry, for everyone that loves that. And just beware that you can never learn all the techniques, and you can never learn live scope fully. It takes a long time. So just be warned.
It took me 6 months to where I felt like I was good enough to use it in a tournament. Yep.
And then even understand when to use it and why and when you're using it as opposed to not to use it. Because once you got it, you're just always going to use it because you think you got to use it. And then that messes you up because the bite was punching heavy vegetation somewhere else on the lake. And it's like, that's the trick, man. Like, so it's just cool, man. If you like Bailey, he's not on here. He loves electronics too. That's like his brain is wired that way. And that's awesome. Man. They're all different. Look at that. There we go. There's Shane popping in saying, hey.
Oh, there's
Alex, I love how you just threw me in there, bro. I was just gonna watch and see if they notice.
No, yeah, I'm always on it, son.
We're supposed to sing a lullaby, bedtime song. Yeah, we're supposed to read a book or green eggs and ham. What's the?
I got my little guy right here. I just wanted to hop on and say I love all you guys. This is an awesome thing that you guys are doing, and hopefully you got a ton of support. But tomorrow, actually, we got a little kids derby at my home pond, and we can only turn in bluegill, catfish, crappie, and carp. So do you guys have any juice on those 4 species?
Catch a bluegill, hook it in the head, and throw it out there for the cats. That's all I'm saying.
Dude, that micro finesse stuff from Z-Man, I'm telling you, that stuff catches like little bluegill like crazy, and a little fish like that.
We're fishing from 6 till 11, and it's all kids. There's gonna be like 200 kids at the lake, so it's gonna be awesome.
Yeah, small stuff, dude. Just give them small stuff. Let them go fishing.
What about carp?
Good luck.
I've always caught them on dough balls. Like seriously, you take bread, like white bread, ball it up on a ball and put it on a hook and just throw it out there and let it float on top, and they'll just come up under.
Okay. Yeah. Oliver will bring bread. Okay.
So we went from live scope to the complete opposite end of the spectrum. Fishing with bread, corn.
I figured you guys would be talking about live scope and all these kayak things, so I thought I'd throw in, carp and catfish.
There you go. Right. Where it's at, son. That's what fishing is all about, right there. Is just taking some kids out, going and catching some bluegill and some carp and some catfish, dude. It's awesome.
It is. It is.
Yeah,
I
love
it.
Times.
Well, listen,
we'll keep
Shane.
going. I'll hang out for a second.
Sounds good. Sounds good. All right, Romel.
Let's go. I'm the techie guy here. So here's my concern. My major concern with live scope is the technology is not going to stop.
Yeah,
it's just going to get better.
Yeah.
It's just how it is.
Where do you think? Okay, saying that. What do you think the next evolution is?
Next evolution is going to be more clarity and also beam width.
Yeah, just 360 even. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the near future. In the distant future, it's going to be all it's going to be all where you can visually see it. It's going to be in the next 10 years, it'll be like a set of glasses that you're looking out and you can see it all, and it's right there.
Like augmented.
You may be. It'll end up being 3D.
You remember the Google glasses that they were trying to do years ago? I sent them a suggestion. Make it to where whatever is on the fish finder, be it the contours of the lake or everything else, is what is out there. If you look out, you see the contours and where they are, and you know exactly where to cast.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
it's just going to keep marching forward.
It's just going to keep marching forward until it stops. So my thing is that if you get, let's say, a younger tech savvy bass fisherman that is absolutely like a Bailey or like the miners.
Yeah.
They're absolutely tech savvy. They are fully invested into live scope. They understand it forwards and backwards. The concern is that like you take somebody that is, let's say, middle of the pack fisherman, tournament fisherman, they learn this skill, employ it, and that technology basically makes them understand what it took, like a fisherman that's been in the industry for a long time that does really well, years of experience to learn, and it shortens that gap.
Yes.
But then what's going to happen is the gentlemen that are out there that have learned it over the years, that have gained their experience and the skills to fish without it, once they catch up, then it'll be back to level again. So that's the thing, is like, so the younger, more tech savvy are going to get a head start, and then the older gentlemen that they'll catch up eventually, and then it'll be back to level. Yeah. And then technology will bump up again. So
the same argument happened when side scan came out.
Yeah,
100%.
It's the same thing. I mean, I was in Timmy Horton's boat, the Bassmasters Classic. I got press passes. I was in there the last day of practice in his boat. This was right after side scan came out from Humminbird. You know, he was sponsored by, I can't remember, Lowrance or somebody. Anyway, he had a Humminbird down in underneath his console with live scope. Everybody did
side imaging.
Or side imaging. Everybody had side imaging on their boat, whether it was seen or not. It was there.
Yeah,
sure.
Yeah, and I don't disagree, man. I mean, it's just like technology in the technology space. You know, we as fishermen are. I'm a techie kind of dude. I love tech. Like I love watching tech videos. Any new iPhone that comes out, any new Android that comes out, new computers. I love to watch that stuff because that stuff I love it. And like, it's like the new, Apple Watch. To answer your phone call now, all you do is that and tap your fingers together. And so that technology and that level of technology and that advancement of technology with companies like Garmin, because Garmin you have to give Garmin due where it's due. Yep. They've got military contracts. That's why they have the money to keep just doubling and tripling, quadrupling down on these technologies with their live scope technology. And then all the rest of the companies just kind of benefit from the trickle down of what they have. And that's just, simply the way that it is. I'm not saying that Mega Live or Lowrance's version or whatever doesn't have its own specific things, but it's just, that's the way that it's happening. And I think you're right, Romel. I think that it keeps marching on. I think that there'll be anglers who fall off because they can't use it or refuse to use it. I think there'll be anglers who get really good with it, and there'll be a tide and a wave that they ride until there's a balancing, like you said, and there will eventually be a balancing. And I think for me, what I've realized the most is that you just handed a kid a book that does not know how to read. I can't read the book yet. I have the book. The book is beautiful. It is full of so much information that is going to help me to be better. But I cannot read any of the words in the book yet. And like, that's where I'm at with that technology. And I think the one thing that I want to kind of detract away from for people is like that putting it on your boat makes you 10 times better. No. If anything, like Gene said, I've taken 10 steps back because I've caught myself going and looking at it. It was like the other day, I figured out I could see my Chapo on the scope at a certain angle. And so like I'm using the Chapo and rolling it over these fish's heads that are sitting on the ends of these trees and watching them come up to it and then swim right back down. And like I caught myself doing that for an hour, just jacking with it, just to try to learn, try to see. But I wasted an hour that I could have just been going down the bank and catching fish. And so I don't think that it's the end all be all. I don't think that it is going to ruin fishing. definitely on a recreational level, definitely for the 99%. Now, in this professional realm where we have to worry about TV ratings and crap like that,
yeah, that's
where it gets boring, right? Because you like with these dudes who are really good at it, they're really good at it.
They're really good.
They're
really good.
They go win tournaments with it.
That's the other part of the topic I was going to transition us to at some point was, well, now there's a whole different part is, us using it, but now what it's done on that
and
side of things.
We're not to get into that, but before we get into that, $2,500, ladies and gentlemen. Actually, more than that. Bethany texted me. We're at $2,505, maybe more by now. But we have now stocked the locker for 3 solid months. That's 3 months of gas cards, grocery cards, any kind of card that you can imagine that's going to help a family with a kid who's battling pediatric cancer. And it was all because you guys did it. And we love you guys for that. So we're going to keep talking here. If you feel like donating, please do, because we do have so many awesome prizes to give away. Like I said, 13 fish and reels. We've got a beer mug set that is the greatest thing ever. Like the Realtree beer mug set is like, it's redneck deluxe, and I love it. We've got an NK300 motor and a battery to go with it, and then another X2 power battery. And so we have
and a fishing rod.
And a beer mug set.
And a beer mug set.
I love the beer mug set. I want to win the beer mug set.
Scott from Realtree did text me. He said, we'll give the $100. Realtree's donating $100 as well to it.
Awesome.
And he said that $100 goes to, like, they're not going to win the raffle. Obviously, it goes to whoever we want it to go to. So,
okay, cool.
If they happen to accidentally win.
Yeah, we'll get that all worked out. Tell Scott I said thank you very much.
I'm going to have to get Scott to send me some giveaway stuff. That's awesome. I love that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Hey, gentlemen, unfortunately, I've run out of time. My wife is like, we got to go to dinner. So it's my son's 21st birthday this weekend. So,
dude, awesome. Congratulations.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah, so we flew him in from school, from college, and he's hanging out for the weekend. So
heck yeah.
I'm going to go hang out. But before I go, just wanted to say thanks for having me on. Thanks to everyone for donating for a great cause. And before I sign off, we're going to add an NT300 to the mix. So
nice.
Wow.
If you don't know what an NT300, go on the website. It's basically the trans-amount version of the NK. So you have a John boat, fishing boat, inflatable boat.
6 prizes. That's crazy.
Dude.
You're the man, Romel. Dude, I appreciate you so much. You are seriously the wizard. You are Gandalf the Great. Like, you are the man. So
it's a great cause.
Yeah.
It's going to a great cause, and love our kayaking community is probably, one of the best communities out there to be a part of, I love it. So I'm so excited about Drew's tournament series coming up. I think it's going to be great. And have people like Gene on board with this in this community. It's it's awesome. So it's a good time. So, but unfortunately, I got to go. But
you're good, man. Appreciate you.
NT300, NK300, and a battery. Let's go.
Awesome. Thank you, Romel.
Have a great night, man. Tell your boy happy birthday from us.
Will do. Thanks, gentlemen. We'll see you guys later.
See you, bro. All right, but so awesome stuff there. I love this. This makes me seriously, I don't know if you can tell, but this crap makes me so happy. I love doing this because it is amazing to me. Here's the deal. I don't think, and I want to tell people, number one, how much I appreciate them. And I had this conversation the other day, and it's crazy to me because when you do a lot of this fundraiser stuff, you're around a lot of people who are rich. Rich people like fundraisers. It's just the way that it is. And I've been to fundraisers with people who are worth millions upon millions of dollars, and we barely raise any money. I can get a bunch of dudes who are blue collar and white collar workers, dudes who work their 9 to 5s, people who have bills, they have grocery bills, they have all the things that we all have to deal with. We have bills and we have normal life, and we aren't millionaires and we're not rich. But I can get 156 people in a stream that I don't even know, and I can't even see their face. And I can raise over $2,500 for pediatric cancer, for kids who need help, for families who need help. And that makes me so proud to be just the person. I don't even want to be the person who is thought to be the guy who raises money. I just am so proud that I get to even be just the launching point for this to happen and for this to flourish. Mm-hmm. And the Punt Foundation in Knoxville is just getting off the ground. We just started it this year in honor of my dad and in honor of his legacy in helping kids here in Knoxville. And this is the first step into getting all the programs going. The locker program is the first program that we wanted to get going, and we can do it with $10,000 a year. And we just literally knocked out a whole quarter of the year.
That's awesome.
In one fell swoop in an hour and 30 minutes. And so I just thank you guys. It makes me so freaking happy. I can't.
That's crazy.
No, that's amazing, man. Because it always, like, I'll never forget, you know, a pastor said this one time. It's one of those like analogies, but it's so true. It's like the son and the dad, you know, they're walking on the beach and the dad starts throwing all these sand dollars back in the water, you know, because they're going to die if they stay dry. And then kid's like, why are you throwing all these back? There's just millions of these things all over the beach. What does it matter? And he just simply says, because it mattered to that one.
Yeah.
And this is what it's all about. $2,500. Dude, that is going to matter. It can't solve all of pediatric cancer and everybody that's dealing with the unfortunate, you know, stuff that happens with it, like you described, but it's going to matter to like that one or those few that we're being able to help here. And that means a lot to that person. So that's a pretty cool analogy I'll never forget. So why the little bit still matters. So thank you guys all for donating. It's been a really fun night, and we're going to keep it going for a little bit, I'm sure.
Oh, heck yeah, we are. And dude, you're right. That's the thing is like, here's the what I always try to put people's here's the harsh reality of what we're doing here. This is the harsh reality of what we're trying to help and what we're trying to alleviate. Your son or your daughter, 5, 6, 10, 12 years old, is diagnosed with cancer. You're sitting around, mom or dad has quit their job so that you can drive 30, 45 minutes to the hospital once, twice a week to have blood work done, to have chemo done. Your child's sick. They are actively dying because the chemo is just doing what chemo does, which is kill you. Because I saw this with my dad.
Yep.
And you are on half the income that you were on before. And your air conditioner goes out. Or the car needs to be filled up with gas and you ain't got an extra $50 to do it with.
Or you live 150 miles from the hospital.
Yeah.
Or you live 150 miles from the hospital and there's a concert in town next to the hospital and the rooms at the Hilton Inn are $300 a night and they don't care whether your kid's got cancer or not.
Yep.
These are the things that Punt is helping to alleviate. That's what we're doing. That's our mission, is to help alleviate that part of it. Of that part of just you've already got a kid with cancer. Your kid's already got cancer. We can't fix it. I wish we could. I wish there was a cure. We can do everything we can with all the research and all the medicines, and we can do all that. We can't fix that. But what we can fix is getting you somewhere, a safe place to sleep, a warm meal in your belly, and gas in your car to get your kid back and forth to the treatment that they need. And that is what Punt is doing. And that's why it's so important to me. That's why it was important to my dad. That's why it's important to the people who do it. So I love you guys. I love not only you guys on here with me, Gene, Drew, Romel, everybody that's on here, but I also love everybody that is on the live, that's watching, that's doing this. It's awesome. So
read the last comment in the comment section.
Yeah, it's
so the bass fishing community. All right, so the bass fishing community has got to be the best group of folks that I've ever had the pleasure of being involved with. Maybe it's an exclusive in that regard. I don't know. It's awesome though. It is.
It is.
Now go up to Brad Block. I can't remember his last name. Can you see that one?
I don't see that. I don't see. You see it? I don't see. Oh, there it is. This one.
Yeah. Alex, my brother lives in Maryville. You take him out and guide him for a day. He has a native, and I'll drop a big donation. Okay.
Boom.
I'll be there.
Gene will be there too. You tell us. Well, I'm not joking. Like, okay.
I'm only 2.5 hours from Maryville. It doesn't hurt me at all.
All right. I'll take your brother out. Like, we'll go to any lake that he wants to go to. I'll go put him on the juice of my juice of the juice that I've got. Like, we'll go to any spot that he wants to go to, and I'll do it. You drop a big donation, and it better be big. That's all I'm saying. Either way,
juice is at Dairy Queen. What are you talking about?
It is at Dairy Queen. You're right. No, it's actually at the Mexican restaurant down the street from where I put in at. But seriously, drop the donation, my man. Bethany will be watching. She'll let me know how much it is, and we will meet him and take him on a full, however long he wants to be out there, guided trip. So let's send it. But I love you guys. I'm trying to actually get all the prizes wrote down so I know what they are. So let's keep discussing though from a tournament perspective. Drew, tell me your opinion on the tournament perspective.
Yeah, so here's the issue, man. This is a big global 30,000 foot view issue with bass fishing. So every sport that's been successful, right? If you just look at any sport, football, baseball, whatever, hockey, they've all found a way to be a good television product. That's what's helped them. The big television deals is where a lot of the money comes from, and it helps the sport, of course, grow. It's exciting, entertaining. So when you take a sport like bass fishing, that's been mostly a lot of visual stuff in the past, in terms of like seeing a bass eat your frog, which of course still happens. But if all the tournaments start to veer towards live scope only, pretty much winning, 70-80% of them are won with just staring down at the screen, you've lost that visual excitement of the sport and the TV product, which you also, as we know, you need to have your sport like just grow to another stratosphere. So there's a point where it's like, it's better to have the visual stuff be awesome and maybe go backwards a little bit to save that to, I don't know, man. You guys tell me.
What if we put a camera on their live scope?
You could do that. That's what I've seen a lot of the pros saying on like Instagram and stuff, but that's still only, I don't know, man. It only still appeals to all the, it's not as exciting as a real, like, fish, but it still would be better than what we got for sure.
This is me thinking out loud. If I was sitting there and somebody was filming me and I had a camera on the live scope, so I had a picture in a picture and I was able to say, okay, look, there's a fish coming. Oh. And you could ham that up. How many times have we dropped a jig into a brush pile and brought it out and watched 5 or 6 bass come up after it, and that kind of stuff. You can still make it visual, but you need to have somebody there to be the commentator of that, because if not, there's a lot of people just looking at a blob that they don't understand what it is.
Well,
that'd be better.
You want to know my actual opinion on this? I love the fact that they're fighting amongst themselves and that ratings are going down, because that only means what I do is even more viable. That I can create the content that people want to watch, and it only makes YouTube more viable. That's why all of sport across the board, except for football, is on the decline, because we are of a group now that we want what we want, when we want it, how we want it. And YouTube provides that specificity. I've said this before and I'll say it again, like John, our buddy John, Creek Fishing Adventures.
Yeah.
The thing about John is you can go to John's channel and you can say, I want to watch a man catch spotted bass on Helgermites in the, whatever river waiting. John's got a video on it. And like, that's the hyper specificity in which we can do things on YouTube. Yeah. And the thing is with like professional bass fishing, it already wasn't great because it was gods among men, as I always like to call them. It was already out of reach for the normal person. And the only reason a lot of people tuned in is because they felt as though they had an opportunity to learn from the best. Well, now when all they do is stare at a screen and there's no commentary and there's no explanation, not only is it boring because it's fishing and it's 8 hours or 9 hours of just straight fishing with, someone going back. I remember in '86 when I won the Classic, I was using a jig, and like everybody's going, nobody cares. And then plus you get the added boredom of someone just staring at the back of their head while they look at live scope. Dude, it's the nail in the coffin for that. And
it kind of is.
Like fishing is a community of wanting to learn things, of wanting to be educated, to get better, or to just learn something from a basis. Why Gene's had all the success that he's ever had on YouTube. And it's why he continues to have success, is because he's built a catalog of fantastic educational content. Drew, you're the same way. People look to you because they want to learn how to fish creeks. They want to learn how to read rivers. They want to learn how to do things. They come to me because I give you a different perspective than you two guys give. And I'm an educator at heart. I mean, my degree, my piece of paper in there says I can teach. And I just use those skills and I teach about bass fishing in a no BS way. And like, I think that the whole live scope thing is interesting. I don't think they're ever going to ban it, because I think these guys will get way too much of an uproar. And I think if you really want to fix professional fishing from a viewership and ratings perspective, here's what you do. I've not wanted to put this out here because I'm afraid somebody will steal it, but this is my actual opinion on this. You get rid of all the dudes. There's way too many dudes fishing as is. 150 dudes is way too much. If you really want to have an elite series, make it 50 guys. The bottom 5 are eliminated every single year in points. They're replaced by the top 5 in the open series in points. It's 50 dudes. You put a camera in every single boat, and you have a website where you can go and you can click on any individual angler that you want to watch at
like NASCAR.
Like NASCAR.
How many years they've been doing that?
Or you click on the whole live stream where there's somebody commentating, and it's good commentators too. You get Zona and somebody else that isn't going to go, I remember in 85 when I won the class. Nobody cares about 1985. It's 2023. We're talking about right now, what's happening now. I want good commentary with good education. And then the anglers, because they're professionals and just because they're fishing, they're still getting paid to be there. And so what you need to do with those dudes is when we put the camera on them, hey, explain what you're doing to us right here. Give me 2 minutes. 2 minutes with each angler. If you do 2 minutes with 50 anglers apiece, that's a lot of time that's spent giving good explanation about what's going on. And like that's, in my opinion, what they should do. Narrow the field down and put an official in every boat and a camera in every boat. And then catch, weigh, release everything too, because then it's a good metric for catch, weigh, release, which isn't the greatest thing in the whole entire world. But, and I know, Gene, what you're going to say is you still got to have the draw of the crowd. But here's the deal is you can do those events, but do it like they did it in Texas, where you bring one big fish to the scale. Where we
bring one.
Cut the standings off like they do in a kayak tournament. Dude, at 1 o'clock or 2 o'clock, our standings get cut off, and we have to go to the check-in to see who won. Do the same thing with Bassmaster. Dude, runner all the way up till 1 o'clock, weigh-ins at 3, cut off the standings and go, all right, folks, and now you're going to have to come to the weigh-in or wait till the weigh-in show to see who won.
Yep.
There's better ways to do things. They're just not doing it.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, that they've also got to get away from the idea that TV is a viable market now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because it and a lot of guys have never. I know I've been asked to do 4 or 5 different TV shows in my career.
Yeah.
Do you see me doing a TV show?
No, and yeah.
And neither I'm not gonna. It doesn't transfer.
Yeah.
The numbers from TV, and how many times have I been on Chad Hoover's TV show? And I love the man to death, but I've never seen an uptick in subscribers on my YouTube channel because I was on a TV show. Yeah. Not even a noticeable uptick.
I mean, dude, TV's dead. It is now considered to me to be legacy media. The only reason TV still exists is because of sports, like football.
Yeah, live sports. Yeah,
live sports. I mean, seriously, golf and football. Yeah. That's it. Like I've got Hulu, and I'll have Hulu through football season. Oh God.
There we go.
Go.
You're outnumbered. Now. I'm a Georgia fan too, so from there originally.
Beating y'all this year. It's gonna be like Alabama last year. We're gonna have to see how we do tomorrow, man. After that Austin P game last
year. That kind of made me nervous. Yeah, that made me a little nervous.
Old Joe Milton, man, he's got a freaking cannon on him. He's got to get that thing under control though. But like literally, I have Hulu, which is a streaming service. I have Hulu, and I'll have Hulu through football season, and then I'll get rid of it. And I'll just watch YouTube and Netflix and watch my streaming services.
Yeah.
And that's
it's good. I mean, TV
because I'll watch reruns of college football all in the off season.
Yeah,
that's great. I mean, TV's you're right though. This whole live scope, I would think. Hey, what is this?
I like this. So bass fishing's viewer age is much higher than most other entertainment, and that's why we're so behind. A lot of the aspects, and it stunts the growth because they don't want to change it until they're forced. Dude, that is 1 billion% right. And like that's the thing is when you look at like my demographics, to share a little insight into how YouTube and like things work, my demographics show that I actually do appeal to a little bit older age group than most people. But the thing is, a large majority of my age group is still my age, 25 to 35. But there's still there's 20% that are in that 55 plus for me too.
But dude, and that growth, so since I've been doing it for so long, I've seen and noticed, hey, I've got more older gentlemen commenting, asking questions than I have in the past. I've got more, and I'm talking 60, 70, 80-year-olds.
Yeah.
They're on computers now. They're on social media now. They're getting their information from websites.
Right.
It's there. So when I was at ICAST, and I'm going to beat around the main point because I don't want to share something that I learned from iCast until I talked to Alex, and we get a game plan of what's going to happen in the future. But there is an obvious change going on, and there's a lot of grumbling that I listen, because I listen to everybody, and I put puzzle pieces together a lot better than most people. But there's some grumbling going on, and I saw it at iCast where the old guard wants to touch and handle and feel everything. They want it to stay the old way, where there's 1,000 companies at iCast and everybody gets to walk around and feel and touch things. And the new guard is like, why? We've got conference calls, we can do videos, they can ship us stuff and we can play around with it, the samples and stuff like that. And between businesses and buyers and stuff like that. But there's also something going on in the sponsorship / tournament world that is coming, and I'm not going to share what, but it's just it's going to be cool for a lot of content creators if it does continue to go that direction, which I'm sure it will.
Oh, and it 100% will. I mean, just again, same as Gene, conversations I've had that I cannot talk about here because, number one, they're not my conversations to share. They were shared with me, and so I'm not going to share them out. But the ship for a lot of years, I said, is turning. I think it's turned now, and now it's time to start heading in a different direction. And a lot of it is very interesting. It is so interesting. And Drew, we have such a great opportunity here with our tournament because we can do something no one else is doing. As far as content and the things we're going to be able to do to promote and to do things like that. And it's just the future. I mean, our industry's 15 years behind. It is. And it's catching up. It's not catching up super quickly, but it's definitely catching up. But like Bethany, she's been job searching. And I'm putting this out into the world. I don't really care. She's been job searching. But anyway, long story short of that, you would be amazed of all the companies that she has been looking at and the modern way that they do things and the amount of success that they're having doing things in a modern way. And you want to know what the modern way is? Content creators, YouTube content creators, Instagram content creators, TikTok content creators. Because, dude, at the end of the day, there's some of these people that are reaching tens of millions of people, not a year, not a month, not a week, but a day. They're Joe Rogan, great example. So CNN on average at primetime has 2 million viewers. The average Joe Rogan podcast has 50 million downloads. Think about that. He can get 50 million downloads on an episode. They do 2 million on prime time. Dude, it's crazy.
Yeah, so, the power's shifted for sure. I mean,
crazy. So hey, Red, we're going fishing next week.
But yeah.
Hell yeah, we're going fishing next week. And that's what he's saying. That's what I wanted to say. Yeah, that's what I want to say is our boy did come through. And Brad, first of all, everybody, I want to thank everybody. We're not just gonna focus in on Brad here. I keep dropping my little. Here's what I'm doing. Y'all are gonna crack up at this. To focus, because I'm ADHD, I am playing with a Yak Attack little screwy thing, and I keep screwing it down and unscrewing it. So that's what I'm doing. That's my little
with the spinnerbait.
Yeah, that's my little ADHD tool.
I'm playing with lead wire.
There you go. So anyway, we're all ADHD. But anyway, so Brad, I want to thank Brad. Brad, I don't know how to say your last name, to be honest with you, buddy. It's kind of Blotzkel. I'm going to go with Blotzkel. It's probably wrong, but we'll figure it out because I'm going to get to meet you here in a couple weeks or next week or something. But Brad ended up donating over $1,000. And so by doing that, not only did he help us to reach a crazy goal of stocking it for a month, but we're now at a total amount of $3,725.
Wow.
So we have stocked not only the locker for 3 months, but 3 months and some change. We've almost started into a second quarter. Like we've almost started 6 months. I mean, it's crazy where we're at. Bethany said we're almost at 5 months now, is what she said. By her math, we're almost at 5 months.
That's crazy.
Brad, thank you for that incredible donation. And me and Gene are going to come meet your brother, and we're going fishing. We're going to go have some fun. We'll bring the kayaks up or the boat or whatever it needs to be, and we're going to go out and we're going to catch some fish. And then for everybody else who's donated, we've seen some big donations come in, $200, $300, $400. I just thank you guys. It's incredible to see the generosity and what we're doing here, and we love you guys for it. And so I think now what we're going to do is I normally give everybody like a 5-minute runoff period. So I'm going to give everybody 5 minutes. Any last donations that you want to get in to bump your chances up of winning a raffle prize, I'm going to give you 5 minutes to do it. And then we're going to start drawing some raffle prizes, and we're going to give away a laundry list of stuff here. I've got a beer mug set, a Real Tree beer mug set, which is awesome. And also, Scott, thank you for the $100. We've got 2 13 fishing reels. We got 1 13 fishing rod. We've got a cashing rod. We've got
how many 13 reels you giving away, Drew? Just one?
2. I'll do 2. If you're doing 2, I'll do 2. Why not? Make it
we got 4 13 fishing reels. We've got a cashing rod. We've got an X2 50 amp hour battery that retails for $1,000. We've got an NV300, which is the hand tilt steer model of the NK300, and we also have an NK300, which retails for $1,200, plus a battery that retails for $1,000 to go with that motor. So, yeah, it's awesome. So I'm going to give everybody like a 5-minute runoff period here, and then we'll see what we end up with here, and then we'll start drawing some prizes. Drew, what do you think, buddy?
Well, I was going to say, back to your whole thing about, bringing in one fish and having 25 or 50 cameras on all the folks. Yeah. The only reason why they don't do that now is because financially just doesn't make sense. That's so much money in production to like have that many camera guys. That's the reason they don't do it. But it would be cool if we could, because even look at the MPFL, they almost ran themselves bankrupt. Yeah. They put, I think it was 2 or 3 days, they had 10 cameras on, all 3 days of their tournament on 10 anglers. And the first year they went for it, which was awesome that they went for it like that. And I think those guys are really cool to, try something new in the bass boat world, but they almost went bankrupt doing it. And then the next year they only have like 5 guys on camera for maybe like the last 2 days or last day. I can't remember which one, but they had to shrink it. It's just so expensive. But I like the concept. Would be so cool if we could do that. And on stage, I like your idea. I've said the exact same thing. Similar thing where you bring in like maybe a fish that's over maybe 1 or just 2 fish max, where if you have one that's over a certain size, that's what you bring into the weigh-in, because no one's there to see 14, 15, 16, 17 inch fish, 2-3 pounders held up when they're way far away. And I mean, and guys, the crowds aren't as big as we make them out to be anyway. So they're really, they're just not. So, and then we're not really doing this for the crowds. Yeah, it's just not. But anyway, that's what I was going to say about those 2 things. And then
I agree. And I don't think the money's there like it used to be either. And so I think that's why these tournament organizations struggle. I mean, listen, I don't know the actual numbers, but numbers that I have heard, you could understand why they financially struggle to keep things going. And especially if we're talking about putting, 50 cameras in 50 boats. Yeah, that can get really crappy really quick as far as like money wise.
Cameramen aren't cheap.
No, they're not. And neither are the streaming equipments that you have to have in the boat. And then it's just like the MLF where they have those like streaming boxes in the boats. That's another add-on to the professionals boat that you've got to worry about. And they're not going to cover that because there's some of those dudes too. And that's the one thing I heard somebody the other day say, you got to realize some of these guys, if they don't cash a check, they're not paying their light bill. And that's nuts to me within itself that we call somebody professional and they can't pay their light bill unless they cash a check. I mean, again, going back to my cousin who was a professional football player and who, the locker is named after the Lee's locker. Dude, we had this conversation. He was like, so like, these guys, something. And I was like, yeah, dude, they pay entry fees. He was like, man, when I played football, if you would have told me I had to pay to play football, he said, I'd have told you to kiss my ass. And I'm like, yeah, I get it, dude. And like, it's just weird that it's a professional sport where people are struggling to pay bills. Like, I don't like
they're maxing out their credit cards every year.
Oh, yeah. MLF tried to change that. Remember, they even tried MLF. That was one of the things that they, formed on that premise. Like, okay, we're going to be like golf now, like the PGA Tour. You don't have to pay an entry fee to our tournaments. And financially, it just did not work. We're just not there. And I don't know if we're getting there with the TV product we're putting out now, unless we do something about it big time, because again, with the live scope conversation we just had, it's not, if you're just being honest with yourself, we love bass fishing. So this isn't an insult to my sport that I love dearly. It's just the reality. It's not that entertaining, but some sports people can watch them and they don't play them and it's entertaining, right? Like football. Like how many of your wives and girlfriends went to go and know they could, at least hang out at a football party and watch it? Cause we all know how difficult it is to at least run and jump and catch a ball. And they can kind of comprehend, okay, the very minimum at football, it's you get it across that line, that's 6 points. Okay. At the very minimum, everyone understands that, right? But here's what's cool about football. If you really understand, it can go so deeper with all the strategy and the linebackers and all the different formations and all this pre-snap stuff. And it's just crazy, the cool nuances deep. Fishing is like, we kind of get all that, deep kind of stuff. Yep. We can kind of understand all that, but the other people on the surface, it's not that entertaining to them, that person that doesn't. And that's just
my friend Michael's told me one time. He said, I love the original MLF, that where like they just went to a random lake, everybody was on the same boat, and it was like really fast paced, and they told them the weights and all that stuff, and it was every fish count. He said because even his wife would sit down on the couch and watch that and be entertained by it. Bethany was the same way. That original MLF, like even my mom, like, and we refer to the women in our lives, because women in our lives, like, they're not entertained by fishing like we're entertained by fishing. Right. And it takes a certain group of women who are entertained by fishing. But even that format, they sit down and they had a ton of fun with it. Because Drew, like what you said, dude, even with football, it's understand at a 5,000 foot view. What's the point? Green team wants to go to this side, red team wants to go to this side, and they're going to try to kill each other to get there. And they're okay. And it's like even fighting, like UFC fighting. So what's the point here? You're going to lock these two dudes in a cage. You're going to beat the piss out of each other, and whoever comes out on top is the winner. Cool. With the MLF style fishing and the way that it was, what's the point? They're trying to catch the most fish possible that weigh the most. Okay, cool. Yeah. And it's no AOI race. It's no nothing. It's just, let's go. You know what I mean? And everything was visual. There was no live scope. It was just all instinct. And like, I don't know, man. I think that was the peak, and I think now we've come off the hill and we're going down. And Drew, I love Drew. He's like, not to disparage the sport that I love, and I'm over here like, I know, I'm like, disparage the sport that I love.
I mean, this is all in the name of progress, because I will say this, and you guys can go look at it. I don't want to like get us off into another tangent when we're probably about to wrap up. But Destin DeMarion, just posted that he had a fish that went 17. This was yesterday in that Bassmaster Open. He had a fish that went 17.99 inches. It did not touch 18 inches, a smallmouth in the slot for Watts Bar Lake, and it did not count. And they made him, that fish was a 0, and he didn't get to replace it, obviously. And I made a comment today on his Instagram about that. I was just like, again, it's all about progress, guys. And to me, I can't believe that's still something that is a part of this sport, that we can't find a way around that, whether like, and again, I know this is asking way too much, but like catch weight release. Okay, let's keep it weight, like just, or one of these days, can we just go to catch, measure, release? We can get accurate measurements. The fish's age is the best predictor of the length is the best predictor of age, and age is the best determination of how difficult it is to catch the fish. The skill it took you as an angler to catch the fish. So therefore, I mean, that's really what we should be going by anyway. And I know this is not going to change anything. It's never going to happen because we have all these records with weight, and it's just too hard to ever go back. But honestly, that would solve, like Brandon Polnick lost by 2 ounces because he had dead fish penalty on Lay Lake earlier this year. You won't have to worry about that, and moving fish all around the lake and transporting them and taking fish off beds and the mortality rates and all this stuff. There were so many things and money it would save from all your live tanks, right? Your weigh-in line tanks, your live release boats, all of the money that goes into keeping these fish transported around to these mini live aquariums and these boats all around and then released. We would make more money too. And we would have accurate scores and pictures of it. I don't know. I just think we're going to look back at this era of bass fishing the same way we look at smoking in airplanes today. And I know we will. It's just, we may be dead before it ever happens because it's hard to.
Y'all are going to be dead. I'm way younger than you guys. You
Anyway, doesn't that like frustrate anybody that Destin did what he's trained to do? The hardest thing to do is catch. And it would be, the analogy I put on his Instagram was this. Think about this, guys. In football, if you made a play between 14 and 18 yards, the down doesn't count. It's loss of down and it's a penalty. 0 yards and it's loss of penalty. And your player gets 17.5 yards and he gets tackled, and the referee comes on the mic and says, the player only got 17.5 yards. He was in the 14 to 18 yard play for that play range. That this doesn't count. That's a loss of down, 0 yards. We would be like, that's the craziest thing I've ever heard in my life, that he did all that he was supposed to do. He's trained for it. He caught the ball. He ran. And this arbitrary, it's just crazy to me. This is still part of our sport. And we can't figure out a way around that. It blows me away.
Well, it's a jury to go back to what that one comment said earlier. It's the old way. And people, I'm going to make a statement here, and I've said this before behind closed doors. I don't think I've ever said it in public. Maybe I have. It's literally going to take a generation of people either retiring or dying for things to change. And there's a bunch of people who are still in positions to make decisions in big companies, in big organizations, in tournament organizations, and everything that are too old. It's like Congress and
it's
freaking
that's been true so much.
Yes.
So much. I mean, I remember, oh gosh, how many years ago? 17, 18 years ago, sitting down at a table with the director of marketing of Zebco. Okay. And I'm not just talking about the little reels. I'm talking about they had Quantum, they have, all these other companies. And back then,
right now.
Well, yeah. Well, back then you never saw anything online about any one of the companies that they had anything to do with. Yeah. It was like they had disappeared to the online stuff. So I was talking to him. He's like, yeah, he's some older guy. He's like, I don't believe in the internet. I think it's stupid. I don't think I'll ever see anything. We're still pumping our money into magazines and TV. And I'm like, okay, that's great, but I won't see you in a few years.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And you know what it took? It took 5 years later or 6 years later, he retired. So I get a phone call about a year or so after he retired from this 30-something-year-old kid that was like, hey, can we pick you up on a sponsorship? I'm like, I just started chuckling. I was like, dude, I am so sorry you have to deal with the stuff you've got to deal with right now. He goes, yeah, I feel like he's like, I don't have enough money to do what I need to do to get Zebco back on the map. Yep. I don't.
Yep. And that is going to be the downfall and demise of so many companies. And you've got to look at the companies who are doing it right. Pure Fishing, the Guggen Boys, 13 Fishing, Rapala, Realtree. I mean, like Academy. Those are the companies that, from my perspective, X2. I mean, huge.
And if anybody out there owns a company or owns, any kind of a fishing company and stuff like that, you might want to start listening to us content creators.
Maybe. I mean,
but just listening to us.
Yeah.
I'm not talking about just listen. I would love to sit down with some of these companies and teach them how to use content creators.
Yep.
Because they don't know how. Even if they talk about whether they know how to use them or not, they don't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But no, and Gramps, no, Loomis and Shimano did. And they doubled down on content creation. There's a lot more content creators out there using Loomis and Shimano, especially in the saltwater world, that you don't realize about. And then two, the only reason that Shimano didn't have a problem is because all the Guggen boys were using Shimano reels on their Guggen rods until they come out with reels, because Shimano is some of the best product out there in the world. And you could go buy a bunch of Chron arcs and never have to worry about your crap breaking. Shimano, and then Shimano too doesn't have to worry about it because they're not exclusively a fishing brand.
So I got a question.
I got a Shimano gear shifter on the bike outside.
Right.
I got Shimano pedals out there. Shimano, like Yamaha, if the outboard section of Yamaha went away tomorrow, they wouldn't skip a beat because they've got pianos, guitars, surfboards. I mean, they've got everything. It's the same. It's the same thing.
So I got an idea. I got a question. What if I was to auction off the rod and the reel that Alex on the Guggens slam dunked on that boat years ago?
You've got it.
Yeah, because it was mine. He borrowed it that day. It's an old 13 Fishing Blackout with an old Concept A.
Okay, I like the idea, but here's what we need to do. We need to do a meat eater style auction like the House of Oddities. Yeah. We need to get a bunch of weird crap like that. We need to put it on there. And dude, I bet that one would go for some money. I mean, hell, I would put in some money on that one just to have it to add to the collection of crap that I've got.
Oh, that was I was like, every time somebody says, "Oh, I'm like, dude, that was my rod and reel."
Yeah.
Of course, he didn't mind slam dunking it down on the boat.
All right, boys, you ready to give some stuff away?
Yeah, let's get some stuff away. I've got some screenshots of some of the stuff up there. So if you need to,
okay, cool, man.
I want to share my screen with you.
Yeah, just start pulling them up, and we'll start doing it. All right, so let me coordinate with Bethany here. So first thing that I want to do is give Bethany a chance to get everything pulled up. And the way that we do this is so Bethany has loaded all of your donations and your donation amounts into a spreadsheet. And so however many donations you gave, that's how many times your name is in the spreadsheet. And then Bethany just takes that spreadsheet and I don't know, she uses some kind of computer magic that I don't understand in Excel, and she can randomize that spreadsheet. And so what I'm going to do is me, Gene, and Drew are going to randomly draw numbers. And then I'm going to get Bethany to come on live. She said she didn't want to, but she's going to have to come on here anyway. She's going to come on live, and whenever we give her a number, she's going to tell us that number. The number correlates to a name, and that'll be the person that won the thing. They don't have to be here to have won it. That's the way that I like to operate, because there's some people that give money and then they have to jet, like Romel just had to jet. But you are responsible for reaching out to me. I'm not going to come find you. You've got to come find me. I will send you a reminder email 1 week after the live stream is over just to try to get the product to you. But please try your best to come to me, because I'm going to have a lot of stuff going out the doors and a lot of stuff to do on this. And so please come get your prize from me is what I'm saying. And then what I'll actually do is if we'll just have everybody reach out to me, and then I will forward information to Gene, Drew, and Romel. So everybody, if you win something, here's what I need you to do. And I'll remind you every time we pull a winner, this is what you need to do. Email me, alexruddfishing@gmail.com. Again, alexruddfishing@gmail.com. Email me your full name and address, and I will get your information to the person it needs to go to, or for me, and we will get your prize to you. Also, we ended up raising $3,815.
Holy crap. That's awesome.
Wow.
Almost $4,000.
That's awesome.
So that's an entire quarter, a quarter and some change of lockers completely filled up. And so
that's cool. Good job, guys.
Yeah, I appreciate you guys.
So we're gonna let them only win one prize, one person, one prize, or
one person, one prize. So again, going back, because Bethany says she needs a few more minutes. Beer mug set, 13 fishing rod. 4 13 fishing reels, so that'll be 4 individual winners.
Yep.
A cash and rod, an X250 amp hour battery, the NT 300, the NK 300 with battery included. So that will be one prize. The big motor and the battery will go together, because I think you need both of those for the whole system to work. And so we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 prizes. So we've got 11 prizes, 11 potential winners. And so we're about to get drawn here in just a second. I think Bethany's ready. Bethany, I'm bringing you in. Can you turn your camera on? Can you grace us with your beautiful presence, honey?
Yes, please.
Bethany.
Or audio. At least. Let's see.
Are you there?
I'm trying. Hold on.
Okay.
Oh, there we go. Okay, here I am.
All right.
All right.
I'm sweating a little bit.
Yeah, you've been over there. She's been working hard, y'all. You don't understand.
Yeah.
Like spreadsheets.
You need to turn the air conditioning on in your house, bro.
Yeah, and we're going to do that. She's been all about having the air turned up to save on the power bill.
No. He turns it down to 65 at night.
That's right.
It's so cold in here.
I like that.
Yeah, that's an ice box, dude.
It's terrible.
I want to hang meat up in this mug. Like, I like it.
You need to go live with Chad.
75 and 65, dude.
I burn up. I burn up. All right, honey, you ready?
I think so. I'm ready.
All right. So to draw the first winner for the Real Tree beer mug set, which is still one of the greatest prizes I've ever given away, Drew, I'm going to let you do the honor, sir. Give me a number between 1 and 3,815.
Let's do what my phone says right now. 1111.
1111.
I can't really tell that's what it says, but yeah, it's 1111.
1111.
Christopher Mitchell.
All right.
Congratulations, sir. You just won a Real Tree beer mug set. So again, please email me, alexruddfishing@gmail.com with your full name and your address, and I'll get it over to Drew to get your beer mug set out. Still one of the greatest things ever.
Congrats,
All right.
Chris.
The next one is going to be the 13 fishing rod. 13 fishing rod. Gene, since you gave that one, I'll let you pick a number between 1 and 3,815 that is not 1111.
86.
86. That was the year that Gene graduated from high school, maybe.
Started YouTube.
Way before
That's the year I shot my first deer.
Oh, I like it. Okay. That was 1886, correct?
Yeah, something like that.
Okay, cool. 86.
Jason Morris.
Jason Morris. Congratulations, sir. Again, please email me, alexredfishing@gmail.com, full name and address, and we will get your 13 fishing rod out to you. Well, Gene will. And Gene, you got kind of a sucky like U.S. Postal Service that takes a while, right? So like people be patient.
Yes.
With Gene.
My post office down the road from my house is only open 4 hours a day. And it's whenever the old lady wants to open the door and close it. So if she's out to lunch, you're screwed.
All right. Well, then there you go. That's what it is.
That's my post office.
And be patient with me. Actually, no, you don't have to be patient with me. You have to be patient with my buddy over at X2. He'll be the one who's shipping out your battery, not me. Because I just got one prize out to somebody last week that won when we did this last time. So I'm terrible with prizes, but this prize, I promise the X2 battery will go out quick.
Yeah, I'm going to try to ship these directly from 13, so it might work a little bit better now. So
I dig it. All right, so we've got 4 13 fishing reels to give away. That's 4 13 fishing reels to give away. I'll pick a number. Drew pick a number. Gene pick a number.
Drew, what reel you giving away? What model? I can pull it up on a computer.
That's a good question. Let's do. I'm trying to think what we should do. What do you recommend? What are you doing? I should do something
I'm doing
different.
the Inception G2, the Gerald Swindle reels.
Yeah. Should I do? What about?
We can do.
Should I do like some spinning reels then? Like, or
yeah,
so
we can do
you're
spinning
doing
reels.
a couple of bait casters, and I'll do a couple spinning reels.
Yep, we can do the new Modus. Oh no, that's not the Modus. That's a new spinning reel.
What about those? It's funny. I hardly use spinning reels, so actually I'm not that familiar with even the new.
So the new Axiom.
I'll just get it'll be a good high end. We don't even have to say which one. It doesn't really matter, does it?
Okay,
I'll make sure it's a couple high end 13s. That way we don't.
Yeah, they've got the new Axiom that's $155 retail.
Yeah, so it'll be one of those probably in that range.
Yep.
So do I need to pick a number now for that one?
Yeah, hold on just one second. Me and Bethany are having a little miscommunication here.
No,
right.
we're good. I'm
We're
texting.
good. You're texting them to me?
Yeah, you keep up with that.
Okay.
I got too many things going. You're
All
good.
right, you're good, honey. All right, Drew, go ahead and pick a number, buddy. Between 1 and 3,815.
15.
We haven't done anything in the 3,000s yet, have we? So,
all
right, 3,149.
JT Hickman, Gramps.
There we go.
There we go.
He's disqualified.
Jeez.
Congrats.
All right.
That's for a real tree. JT.
Okay, so JT, hold on. I'm trying to 13 fishing reel.
So I want everybody to know that this salsa, everything in it but the onions came out of my garden.
I love it. You're gonna say, I want to come get. Can you
Nice.
see some?
And it's like restaurant style salsa. It's so good.
Oh, I love it.
All right, Gramps, hit me up, Alex Red Fishing, or on Instagram, whatever, buddy. You know how to get a hold of me, and we'll get your stuff out to you. All right, another 13 fishing reel. Gene, give me another number, buddy.
We're going to give away the Inception G2, which is a Gerald Swindle reel.
Oh, wait, hang on. Gramps said roll it again. He's got a sponsor for reels.
All right, roll it again.
Oh, never mind. Drew, give us another
All right.
number.
Let's do how about 3,003. Go well below Gramps. Try to get somebody
Stephen
different.
Herr.
Who is it?
Stephen Herr.
All right, Stephen.
Stephen Herr. Hit me up, alexredfishing@gmail.com. Thank you very much for your donations, buddy. So Stephen
awesome.
Herr. I'm going to put that in there. I don't know how you spell your last name, buddy, so I'm going to spell it out.
Just like her.
All right, just like her. All right, I'm going to pick one. Let me do 1993. That's my birth year.
Oh, I didn't realize you were picking a number. I'm sorry.
Oh, you're fine. Just any day now.
Oh, hang on. That was Stephen again, though. Do we do again or no?
I mean, he donated and he won, so we can Do it. I'm
It
good
was
with
him again, so
All right. Well, I'm good with it. I'm good with giving him 2.
follow me.
He won it fair and square. He gave the money, so he wins it. It's just like gambling. Sorry if sorry if your number didn't hit. All right, Drew, go ahead, buddy.
Is it back to me again?
Yep.
God, I feel like it's my fantasy football draft. It's coming up quick, man. All right, let's do 978.
Levi Schneider.
Levi Schneider.
Levi
Schneider.
Yeah, I haven't given away a reel yet, have I?
Oh, this is what we're doing now. Now we're giving away reels.
Yeah.
So this will be.
Well, we did both of mine, I guess.
Yeah, so we did 2 reels. That was our 3rd reel. This will be our 4th reel. Gene, go ahead for our 4th reel, buddy.
Did I give away 1 reel? 2.
You gave away. So I've got 4 on the list. So our first reel winner was Stephen Herr. Our second reel winner was Stephen Herr. Our second reel winner, or our third reel winner was Levi Schneider, and this will be our 4th reel winner.
So I gave away a rod and no reels yet, though.
No, you've got a rod and 2 reels.
I know, but I haven't given away 2 reels yet.
He's saying her got a reel. 2 reels.
Her got 2 reels, and then
So
Levi
one was
Schneider
for
got
you
a
and
reel.
one was for me.
Okay,
I
I
guess.
got you.
Yeah,
You just didn't pick the number. I think Alex picked that one.
Yeah, I picked that number.
Oh,
That's
okay.
That's where the confusion
So
was.
Gene, pick another number, buddy, between
You're
1
fired.
and 300.
I'm gonna get another low one. I turned 58 a day before yesterday, or 59 day before or 49 the day before yesterday.
Good Lord, Gene, are you
We're
sure?
going 49.
There's something in this salsa, I'm telling you. Yeah,
Yeah.
we go 49.
Dementia setting in because you're old.
Zachary Davis.
Who?
Zachary Davis.
Zachary Davis. Congratulations, buddy. Thank you very much for entering. Again, alexrefficient@gmail.com. Hit me up, full name and address. I'll get it over to Gene. What's Zachary Davis?
Mm-hmm.
All right, I'm trying to keep these names written down. All right, so the next thing we've got to give away is a cash and rod. Shane texted it to me. He said it is the Cashin Fallen Out series. I don't know what it's called. A Cashin Icon Rattle Trap rod. It's a $220 value.
It's a good rod.
I've never used one, but if Gene says it's good, I'm going to believe him. All right, so Drew, I'll let you pick this number next, buddy. Go ahead.
All right, let's get in like 2000s. Hadn't done that one in a while. Let's do 2633.
Chase Kidd.
Chase Kidd. Congratulations, buddy. I've seen his name on here before, I'm pretty
New
sure.
name. Nice. Congrats.
Chase, hit me up, alexrefficient@gmail.com, full name, full address, and we will get that over to Shane to get that out for him. Shane does live in California, so it may take a little while to get to you if you're not close to him. So just kind of keep that in mind. All right. Now we're getting down into the last 3 prizes here, and these are the big ones. These are the big ticket items. These are the ones that are worth a little bit of money. So the next one is going to be an X2 50 amp hour lithium battery. This is what I run my NK180 off of. And I have to give a big shout out to everybody over at X2 for just making this work for us. They sponsor me and Drew both. They're a fantastic company to work with. And I have to give a big shout out to Sean because Sean he's just the man. And he's the one who made this giveaway possible through X2. And they treat me and Drew like family. And so we love those guys. So I'm going to go, let's go 1776 because that's one of the greatest years that ever happened in the history of the world.
How often do you think about the Roman Empire, Alex?
Well, dude, daily. We had this conversation already.
You did this earlier.
Dude,
My wife and I have too. Okay.
Well, you got to think about it. Like the Roman Empire, you think about Rome, Jesus, and the Roman. That's who put Jesus.
That's true.
I mean, if you think about it, I mean, like, the Roman Empire is a pivotal part of the greatest story ever told. So you got to think about it. Anyway, honey, what?
Are you ready for this name?
Yeah, I am.
Micah McGuire.
Micah McGuire. Congratulations, buddy. Micah McGuire. I got you on the list, buddy. Email me, alexrefficient@gmail.com. Full name, full address. I think we know it by now. I'm saying it. I'm going to have a lot of emails in my inbox here in just a little while. All right. The next one, Gene, we're going to pull this thing up here so we can look at it. This is the NT 300 this is the tilt steer version of the NK300. And this thing is actually really cool. I would like to have, I think that would be awesome to put on like the back of a, not a native, native watercraft, not native. What's the other brand? No.
New Canoe.
There we go.
Yeah.
That's my brain. Welcome to it. I think it'd be awesome.
Extended handle.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. All right. So, Gene, I'll let you pick this number, bud.
1,842.
1842. Did anything good happen in 1842?
Nope.
Jonathan Callison.
Nice. Jonathan Callison. I don't know how you spell your last name. I'm just spelling it phonetically.
Is that it? Is that 30? Is that $139? That's all that motor.
Dude, that's incredible. That's actually a really good deal.
It's like a 3.
Is 36-pound thrust trolling motor is only 139. Well, dude, you got to really look at Newport.
Dang.
Dude, you're doing it good. I mean, because an NK300 is only $1,200. I mean, what's the Torqeedo equivalent to that? It's like $2,000, $3,000.
I don't know what the Torqeedo equivalent is because I don't know what. I know the one I run is the 1103. It's like a 3 horsepower. So I don't know.
What's the retail on that?
Like 28.
Yes, it's crazy. I don't know what Newport's doing, but I mean, dude, it's like brushless motors. Like it's really good tech. I don't know how they're doing it. I think they must just not be making a ton of margin on them, which is really, really cool. So there you go, buddy. Congratulations to Jonathan on that one. And then here she is, the big bad, the grand prize.
Hold on. We pulled up.
Okay. Almost $2,000 in motor and battery together here. So when you get this system, whoever ends up winning this thing, not only will you have the motor to mount it to your kayak, but you will have the battery as well to power this thing. We got to give a huge shout out to Romel and Newport for hooking us up with this stuff. Romel, in the time that I have known this man, has given away probably $8,000 in kayak motors and batteries. Probably more than that because I'm not even counting the batteries. That's just the motors. And so he is he's an awesome human and has helped us out here. And without further ado, drum roll, please. Gene, I need you to pick a number. Go ahead.
2,460.
2,460.
Watch it be Gramps after he gave up his other.
Trey Johnson.
Trey Johnson. Congratulations, buddy. You are freaking set up, son.
That's awesome.
You just got everything that you need to go out there and to power your kayak, and I'm excited about it. So, gentlemen, I appreciate you very, very much. I just want you to know that. You guys are amazing humans. I appreciate you just being who you are and being good friends and being awesome folks and being willing to sit here with me for 2 hours and 21 minutes and help raise money for cancer and just talk a bunch of crap about a bunch of everything.
Yeah. that was my favorite part, man. We got to do it again because although we've definitely been, taking on a serious issue here, there are things that in life that you need to be distractions and from that kind of stuff. So hopefully we've been able to provide a little bit of that for you guys tonight. And
okay, whoa. We got to back up for just a second.
Yeah.
I think I screwed up.
You didn't. Yeah, you screwed up.
On the motor, it was this. Yeah.
Romel just texted me and he sent us the right thing. And he had numbers picked as well. And I didn't see his numbers, but we've already picked the winners. And so we're going with what the winners are. But what
he needs to fix his website because I looked up Translam Mountain. That's the only one that popped up.
300. Okay, it's the NT300 going to Jonathan Callison. Jonathan, let me pull this up here, buddy, so that you.
That's what I was gonna say. I knew there was something off when it was like.
Wait, I got you.
You got it.
$1,299.
I'm gonna share.
Translam out.
Yeah.
I knew there's no way. I was like, yeah, maybe you could save some costs if you just make it.
So
about the same amount.
That's what you're getting instead, buddy. I'm so sorry. There you go. It's a $1,200 motor. So Romel gave away literally $3,000 in motors tonight. Not including the batteries, which is really cool. So Jonathan Callison, there you go, buddy. That's what you're actually getting to put on whatever you decide to put that thing on. So that's really, really cool. But there's that. There we go. gentlemen, again, I appreciate you very much. I had fun. Did you have fun?
It was a blast. Thank you guys for watching and being part of it. Awesome comments. Sorry we couldn't get to every one of them, but good conversation, and we'll get back into it and get after it again, I'm sure. Gene, we'll get you on the Kayak Adventure Series, man. I cannot wait.
Yeah, we definitely need to talk about that.
Oh, Drew, we said we were inviting him.
I
thought we were going to invite Drew, or we were going to invite Drew. Okay, I guess we have to now.
Yeah, I guess so.
Listen, I love you guys. I love everybody that just watched this. You people are fantastic humans. I can't believe that we just raised $3,800 for the foundation. That's huge. We seriously are going to stock the locker. If you don't follow me on Instagram, Facebook, or YouTube, go do that. Also, these other guys. But for me, the main factor is going to be I will post when I make the donation. I will post literally the receipt for the donation so that you know that the money went exactly where I said it's going to go. And you know it's going to exactly where it's going. I literally make those posts not to pat my own back, literally just as proof that happened, and they live on my social media forever if you need any proof whatsoever. Also, if you're not subscribed to Gene's channel, I don't know why you're not. Living under a rock, go do it. Go follow him on his social. Drew, Kayak Adventure Series, all his personal social as well. Be on the lookout for everything we've got going on with Kayak Adventure Series. It's going to be awesome. Romel, go support Newport with those guys. Shane is the Bass Thumb podcast, and then Bailey's people who are here. I appreciate you guys as well. He let us just commandeer his YouTube channel, not even though he wasn't here and fishing a tournament.
We should have been talking smack about him the whole time.
He's an idiot anyway.
Bethany, thank you, by the way. Bethany, good job.
Thank you, Bethany, for all the back end stuff.
Yeah.
And as always, you guys are sweet, and we will see you